What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Mets Weekly, episode 36. And I kid you not, we had an entire awesome special episode planned for this one. And then the Ep Dog went frickin' nuts. So we're going to have to wait until next week. But the Mets cleared the shelves on Black Friday, and then they signed some dude with different colored eyes. Nuts. Notable free agents did exit Queens, though. And is there another move on the horizon for the New York Mets? We got tons of stuff to talk about. We've got a rhino size of things to talk about. There, okay. We also have an announcement to make after everybody's intro, so be ready for that. So yeah, welcome to the Mets Weekly Roundtable. Let's go.
This is Frank Cugino from Frank About Sports.
What's going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo back.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name.
What is going on, everybody? This is Metsfan from YouTube.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm TonyMetro.
Big Apple Banter Media here with Elias. That's weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Welcome to Mets Weekly. All right, Andrew Acevedo. What's up, man? Introduce yourself.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, the All Elite Rhino is now officially, the lockout's hit, so now the All Elite Rhino is now back. Hockey, NHL, MLB, and some baseball, I guess, news or update at the end of the stream. I got a little announcement to talk about content, not regarding the New York Mets coming pretty soon.
All right, Elias, Big Apple Banter Media.
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Elias from Big Apple Banter Media here. I'm back, and I'm going to probably be here every week now, so I'm really happy to be back. We also have a new addition to the show. We have some funny sound bites, so we'll be playing those throughout the show. I promise I won't overdo it too bad. But, yeah, Big Apple Banter Media is a channel name. Going to have, well, not really news reactions anymore because thanks, Rob Manfred. But, yeah, Big Apple Banter Media. Check the channel out. I'll probably become a full-time music channel just because we're not going to have anything to talk about in like 3 weeks.
All right, Frank About Sports.
Yep, Frank About Sports. I have seen on the screen. Was on a roll, making a lot of good Mets videos. A lot of transactions were happening, but now we are in lockout. But that doesn't mean the channel is done. Now we can do more hypothetical stuff, maybe some more previews, look at different players, different breakdowns, other big sports stories that happen, reactions to that. So let's go Mets. Let's get into it.
All right, Mets Talk with Hayden.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, that'd be very much appreciated. Channel's doing well. Just, I think, hit 500 subscribers a couple days ago, so appreciate you guys for that. Definitely means a lot. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, videos, live streams, pumping it out lately, LFGM.
All right. Well, unless our sixth member is not here, I think we'll just move on here. Now, like as always, we are streaming tonight's episode on multiple channels. Whoa. We are also streaming on the new Mets Weekly Twitter. If you have not followed us yet, link is in the description, along with everybody else's links. It's also above my head as well. Yeah, and so if you haven't figured it out yet, if you didn't notice something else in the description, some of you already figured it out. We are officially launching our Mets Weekly Discord server. Now, if you want to talk Mets 24/7, click the link in the pinned comment, which I will have in just a second in the description. Yeah, all 6 of us will be on that server as well to talk to you guys whenever we can. But while on the server, you also can keep up with everything going on with Mets Weekly and everyone individually as well. So you don't want to miss any content from here on out. We also have another big announcement, probably our biggest announcement of them all next week. So look out for that. So with that being said, let's get into this insane last 2 weeks of Mets land. Now, let me just get this going. All right. Now, since this is a weekly show, we usually do go somewhat in chronological order. But Mad Max freaking Scherzer, I can't even freaking talk right now, is a New York Met. I think we all know how big this signing is, and the writing has already been done about it. 3 years, $130 million, a 43.3 AAV, making him the highest paid player in baseball until further notice. He also has an opt-out after year 2. There's tons to unpack about this signing, but the main question I have here is, does this remove that Wilpon stench? Now, I'm not talking about the team winning. I'm not talking about the contract. I'm asking if the approach set by Billy Eppler this offseason finally transforms this organization into the possible sustained winner that Steve Cohen aspires it to be. I will start with Frank About Sports.
I think so, and for a variety of reasons. I mean, obviously, giving Max Scherzer the biggest AAV contract is the total definition of not being a Wilpon, which is cheap. So we know the Wilpons are never giving out the highest AAV contract, especially when we gave Lindor a massive contract the year before. Not to mention, getting Starling Marte, those other guys that they got on Black Friday, we will get into. But the other thing that I love what the Mets have done is not losing any of their draft picks. So not signing any qualifying offer guys, not trading away any prospects, not bringing back guys and getting draft pick compensation for them. So that's how you truly build sustained success, because you could have a good offseason this year, get your few guys, you're good for a couple years, but then what happens? But the fact that the Mets are building up their farm system and they're not making it any worse is really what's going to get them that sustained success. So I love the plan they have in place. They're going to spend big this year and next year, but after 2 years, there's not going to be a lot of money on the books, and the Mets will actually be back under the luxury tax. This way, they don't get any huge repeater penalties. So it's just further proof that this is a new day in Metsland. Steve Cohen is the owner. It's not the Wilpons anymore, and I'm just thrilled that Max Scherzer is here.
All right. Elias, what do you think about here? Does this remove the Wilpon stench?
Yeah, I really think so when it comes in terms of not making any, Wilpons, he never made these big splashes in the offseason. We just set the AAV record, I believe. So definitely that's there. There's just one key. It's got to show up on the field. Obviously, when the Wilpons are here, we had a history of being not only a laughingstock, but absolute losers on the field. So we need a win now, but it's very likely when you have a 1-2 of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, no doubt about it in my mind. But yeah, it's part of the process of getting the Wilpon stench out. We've shown that we can we'll spend some money. I love in the press conference, Steve Cohen said he gave Max a bit of extra. I don't know the quote exactly. He gave Max extra millions, just kind of the look of it, just like, yeah, fuck it, why not? I mean, that's awesome. I mean, overpaying is not a Met term anymore. Like Mets tax, all that shit. Like we can pay it if we need to, because money is, pretty close to unlimited here. So that part's gone, but we just need to, show it on the field.
All right. Rhino, does this remove the Wilpon stench? Is it finally gone?
I mean, yeah, because you look back a week ago, 2 weeks ago, even with Cohen, we're like, there's no way we're signing Max Scherzer. There's no way he's coming here. And I even said, well, if you throw $40 million in front of him, maybe you get him to listen. And they ended up throwing $43 million in front of him to listen, and he did listen. So, again, most years, you take the big guys, and we'll automatically, we're not going to get, Freddie Freeman or Scherzer. In past years, again, just thinking of this year's class instead of past classes. But to be able to say, you know what, anybody on the market, everybody's kind of in play for the Mets, and Max Scherzer being the biggest guy, we're like, there's no way in God's green earth the Mets are signing Max Scherzer. Went to bed and ended up the next day he's a Met. So, again, does he get rid of the Wilpon since 100%? Again, he spent, $250 million in 2 days? That's probably what the Wilpon spent in 7 to 8 years. Come on, maybe I'm over-exaggerating a little bit. Maybe call it 3 or 4 years. Besides the point, in 2 days, he's spending more money than the Wilpons have spent in years, and he is not done. So, if this is finally the end of the Wilpons, thank God, Steve Cohen, that money is kind of finally showing up.
All right, Hayden. The question here, is the Wilpon stench gone? Are we finally in a new era?
Well, yeah, it seems so. I mean, for the most part, this offseason so far, which has been consisted of probably 2 weeks, we've pretty much done what the Mets would do in, I don't know, probably 2 off seasons worth. We are in second place for the highest spending in Major League Baseball, just behind the Texas Rangers. Listen, money's good. I always enjoy when the Mets go out and spend money. But kind of like what Aaliyah said, you could throw out as much money as you want. Look at the Padres. Look at the Phillies. Look at now the Rangers. Money isn't always the answer. It'll get you some guys, great. But I want to start seeing the performance on the field. I hope to see these guys hitting. I hope to see these guys pitching. I hope to see these guys being healthy. Overall, I think it definitely does remove the remaining of the Wilpon stench. However, listen, it's always going to be around, but I think I have enough trust and faith in Steve Cohen that he pretty much said, screw this. He saw how things went last offseason. He was not fond of it, and he exploded pretty much Major League Baseball within the span 72 hours.
All right. Well,
Wow.
race car
Dedication.
driver himself, TonyMetro, has joined us. And
What car are you driving?
we don't.
From the car phone.
All right. So from the car phone.
From the car phone. Just wanted to check in and say, let's go Mets. This was an awesome week to be a Mets fan. And, I hope you guys have a great stream.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
I don't know if you can hear me. That was really awkward.
No, we can hear
silence,
you.
but I'm still there.
No, we
Audio isn't
heard
good,
you. We got
but
you.
doesn't really matter, yeah.
We got you.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I am off to complete a school project for the broadcasting class that I'm in, so unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. But great additions for the Mets this week, and hopefully the lockout ends very quickly, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, don't be streaming and driving though.
I will bid you adieu now. Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
All right.
Man.
All right, guys.
Outcast
Tony,
priorities.
yeah. So Tony won't be able to join us. Obviously, he joined us for a little second there, but guys, his links are obviously in the description, along with everybody else on this screen. Follow him on Twitter as well, YouTube, all that stuff. Anyways, as for this past few weeks, I think as a rushed period of time before this lockout, the East Coast Dodgers may have entered Flushing, New York. And listen, we still have to do our job. We still have to win. But you have to realize what the Mets just did. Max Scherzer was a Dodger. He was traded to L.A., and he's from the West Coast. I mean, maybe the rumors aren't
No, he's from
that
Missouri,
true or
yeah.
whatever. But the Mets outbid
St.
the
Louis
Dodgers.
resident. No. St. Louis resident. No, Missouri.
I thought
slander.
he's
Yeah, Missouri,
Did he go to
yeah.
school
No,
at
he's
the
in-
West Coast?
No, he's,
So who am I
everything was
thinking
in.
of?
I have no idea.
What school in
Trevor
Missouri?
Bauer.
Steven
Well,
Strasburg.
Is it Trevor Bauer?
Bauer,
Is it
Strasburg.
Trevor Bauer?
Noah.
No, it's in Texas.
Hours from California. Strasburg's
So,
from
there.
California.
All right, thank you for making me look stupid.
No Missouri.
That was-
No Missouri slander.
Thanks
on
for making me look
Missouri.
stupid. That was such a dick move. Anyway, no.
Andrew's got to
Well,
represent his state, man.
Yeah. Anyway, the Mets outbid they outbid the Dodgers, right? They didn't get used as leverage by Boris. They fixed that relationship they had with him after the Kumar Rocker fiasco, and our owner and his wife got involved and recruited him away from the team that does this stuff religiously. I mean, I'd say this is maybe a warning to never piss off a unrestricted Steve Cohen. He is
Thank you, Stephen
not. Yeah, he is not going to give a shit about anybody else's feelings. He cares about the New York Mets and the New York Mets only. But listen, we've been told that all Cohen does is win. Well, last Sunday morning he won, so we'll see what happens from there. But what a pickup! I mean, it was amazing. If anybody else wants to add anything on Scherzer, you can. But if not, we will move on to Black Friday, crazy Black Friday. Anybody else on Max Scherzer?
just that when you go into a playoff series, you feel really confident in game 1 and game 2, and that's huge because in the playoffs, your rotation is 4 guys, so you're halfway there to winning a series where you feel really good in the first 2 games. I mean,
Actually,
no one can match up with it. Nobody can match up with it.
All right, now let's rewind.
I actually did have one thing I did want to share about Max Scherzer.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so honestly, I really think this is honestly a big signing, and I really do think that it's going to open the door for a lot of other guys to become available. I don't know if you guys saw on SNY, but Ron Darling was talking about it, and he expressed it as Gary Carter coming to the Mets in 85, 84, and how it really just set this team up for success. And I mean, acquiring Max Scherzer, 37-year-old guy, was it 3 years, $130 million. I mean, acquiring a future Hall of Famer, a 3-time Cy Young, just a really postseason elite veteran is really going to go so far for this team. And I really think he could really help clean out that clubhouse presence with all the animosity, all the issues. And I really think that it could make guys want to come to the Mets. We saw in 2004 when the Mets acquired Pedro Martinez. That led to a lot of the 2006 guys coming in. Beltran. So I really think this is going to be a huge move for the New York Mets and acquiring Max Scherzer. And personally, everyone's saying Max Scherzer to the Mets, Max Scherzer to the Mets. I was like, no. Crazy.
We don't get our way that many times. That's the crazy thing.
Using a guy like Max Scherzer as a recruitment tool. The interesting thing is like in his press conference, he said DeGrom was like not a recruiting guy, but he's a primary reason. So you get the 2 best pitchers in baseball on one team. Like every, up and coming guy is going to want to come here who wants to learn from like that veteran is going to want to come here. Like it helps just not just on the field with so much stuff. Also, he's big with the Players Association, and we're obviously going to Carson close your ears, lose our player rep in Michael Conforto. So I guess he might. I don't know if he'll be our player rep. I know he's involved with that, but we'll see.
And the other thing is that I think him and DeGrom are going to complement each other so well because we know how competitive both of them are. I mean, and they're going to pitch back-to-back in the rotation. So let's say Jacob DeGrom has a great start, 6 innings and goes scoreless. Max Scherzer the next day is like, I need to top that. I can't let Jacob DeGrom be better than me because if you ask Max Scherzer who the best pitcher in baseball is, he's not going to say DeGrom. And if you ask DeGrom who's the best pitcher in baseball, he's not going to say Scherzer. So I think it's going to make a really nice, good, friendly competition that will only make those guys better.
Just like 2019 with the Astros. Look at it. 2019 Astros. You had Verlander and Cole.
Yeah.
Both of those guys were competing for Cy Young. A nice, friendly rivalry. And having 2 Cy Youngs in back-to-back, that really creates this team for success. And that is why I really think this is a really good move. I mean, regardless, yes, I got a little nervous. 37 years old. Past season, he got a little fatigue in the playoffs, but I think that's because the Dodgers really limited it.
Isn't that
right?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird though? Like he's 37 years old and they made him pitch less, and it hurt him. That's crazy.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
And he actually had one
Some
of his
people are
better
just
years
wired
yet
weird
in the second half.
Yeah.
Like in this great career he's had, we talked about Hall of Fame trajectory, Cy Youngs, and all that. He was amazing in the second half, so he doesn't show any signs of aging as far as his performance. So that's a great sign.
What place did he come in, Cy Young? Second?
No, I think he was third. Yeah,
I think he came in third.
Wheeler coming second?
Only third? Get rid of him.
I want to say he came in third.
Zarice, I think it's weird because we're actually like happy this week because it was actually a good week. I think that's why it's weird. Maybe. It's possible. All right, well, let's rewind to Black Friday. We usually go in order, but like again, I mean, Max Scherzer, you got to talk about that first. That's freaking insane. That's once in a lifetime. All right, so this is where the Ep Dogs started to go nuts. The first official ink was switch hitting infielder Eduardo Escobar. The Mets signed Escobar to a 2-year, $20 million contract along with a year 3 club option. Now, Escobar is 33, and he has been in the league for about a decade. He was with the White Sox, Twins, Diamondbacks, and then was recently traded to the Brewers. With the Diamondbacks and the Brewers in 2021, 253 BA, 786 OPS, 107 WRC plus, 2.4 BOR in 599 plate appearances. Couldn't get the 600, I guess. But this guy can play multiple positions on the infield, little bit of the corner outfield. So is this a good addition for the Mets? I'm going to start with Mets talk with Hayden.
Yeah, I really did like this move. This was honestly a move that, I mean, like Frank kind of stated, that pretty much everyone wanted this move for quite a while now. Escobar, I think he's a great guy. 32, I want to say 33. I think he's making like 20, 25 million for 2 years, so that's not a bad deal. Nice short-term deal. So worst case, the Mets seem to Mets up with him. It's short-term, so you don't have to worry about him too long. God forbid something happens. But overall, we saw he's coming off his career best season. He was in an all-star. We know me. I love all-star appearances. That's my number one thing. Overall, I think he could be a really good bat. Nice top-of-the-order bat. He's a switch hitter, which I really do value in a lot of teams, having a switch hitter. So having him and Lindor, who could hopefully hit for a high average, be in the top of the order, obviously those guys are switch hitters, and that's very valuable depending on what the future possible Mets manager may value, whether that's lefty on righty, righty on lefty, etc. So I do value that. Definitely has some power to an extent. I saw on Savant that he would have had more home runs if he played all of his games at Citi Field. I like home runs. We know that. And one thing that really stood out to me was during his press conference the other day when, I forgot who it was, but they asked him, they said, Escobar, what position would you like to hope to play? And one thing that stood out to me was he said, well, I'm willing to play any position. And that really goes a lot with me because that shows that he is willing to go anywhere. He said, yes, he would like to primarily play at third base. Which I think is the most realistic thing. But, it really stands out to me that he's willing to play where the Mets skipper wants to put him. That really shows that he wants to win with his team, and he's fine doing whatever it costs.
All right, Elias, is this a good addition? What do you think about Eduardo Escobar?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really happy about this signing. He's a great fit in many different ways. Defensively, like Hayden said, probably spend most of his time at third base. If the season started today, the way this team is currently constructed, he would be your third baseman, but could also play second. I also love the fact that not only it's cheap, but it's a short-term commitment because your best prospects are at third base. Brett Beatty, everyone typed up about. Mark Vientos is pretty close to MLB ready. And even like a guy like Ronnie Mauricio, he might be a third baseman, might be a second baseman. He's obviously far away, but if you want to give those guys a shot, if you want to spend a lot of money in other places, get the, prospects up who don't get paid anything, that's perfect. Switch hitter, like Hayden said, he's a really solid ball player. He's also got a few connections with some guys on the team. He's played with Trevor May in the past, Taijuan Walker, and they all speak really highly of him. Again, he's just a really good vet. He's just a really good all-around player, and this gives you flexibility also to get guys like J.D. Davis in the lineup because you're not paying him so much where you're basically forced to play him every single day, where a guy like J.D. Davis can have some success, maybe not playing third base, but getting some at-bats when Eduardo Escobar could rest. Just because if you're not paying a guy, in my mind, if you're not paying a guy as much, you can bench him for a few games just to get a better matchup and whatnot.
All right. Frank about sports. Eduardo Escobar. I know you like this guy a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Well, the reason why I like Eduardo Escobar is we always talk about, in any sport, good player, whatever, are they a good fit on your team? And we've seen for 2 years now, when the Mets struggles on offense, what is it? Runners in scoring position, hitting with guys on base. And that's what Eduardo Escobar does very well. You didn't bring up a certain stat about him in his intro. It's a stat you don't like, but RBIs. When Eduardo Escobar had 118 RBIs in 2019, when was the last time a Met had 118 RBIs?
Pete Alonso.
He never hit 118.
A lot. Yeah, 2019.
Did he? He had 118?
Yeah, he's elite.
120.
Oh, wow, how about that? But yeah, he had 90 this year. Did Met have 90 this year? No.
Not even close.
Yeah, the thing is that he's mostly going to replace Jonathan VR. And VR's biggest weakness, besides base running blunders, was hitting with guys on base. Jonathan VR, he was a big swing and miss guy. Every now and then he'd run to a home run, but for the most part, he chased a lot. He couldn't move runners over. Escobar is going to be a big upgrade in that department. 2 years, he's going to play third base instead of VR, also a switch hitter. So that's going to be the biggest upgrade, is seeing a guy that you put him, whether it's fifth or sixth, he's going to drive in those runs once, Lindor gets on, Nimmo, Marte, and it really would just make this a much better, more complete offense at such a reasonable cost for a guy that, like I said, he was an all-star this year in the first half, and he still played pretty well in the second half. He wasn't one of those guys who had a great first half, was an all-star, and then he sucked in the second half. He was able to do it the entirety of the season. Good vet. This team needs more vet leadership. Him and Starling Marte also played together in Arizona, so that's another pair of teammates that have been reunited. So I'm really excited because he's also a bilingual guy who'll be able to connect with everyone in the clubhouse. And again, they just need that veteran leadership, because when you look at this team last year, position player-wise, it was too young to an extent, where they didn't have anyone that could hold guys accountable, learn to be a professional. So I really like Escobar signing.
All right. Andrew, Escobar to the Mets.
Yeah, again, it's a solid move. Again, I think Frank's been happy for saying this for 2 years now. I've said it for about a year now. It's a good fit. Also can give you some versatility at second base, which, there is a guy we're trying to get maybe potentially to play third base, but the lockouts hit, but we did have some interest, and flipping a certain other second baseman for some pitching wouldn't be a bad idea. So it does give you that flexibility. But worst case, he's your starting third baseman. And again, like Frank said, he's not a big WRC plus guy, but he's a big RBI guy. And the Mets desperately need some more RBI guys because they have their WRC plus guys. It's okay to have one guy who's got a bad WRC plus, but drives in a lot of runs. So again, the versatility, second base, third base, can play some outfield if you need it. So switch hitting bat, put him in the bottom of the lineup, driving runs after the meat of the top of the lineup. That's a pretty solid pickup.
Stephen A, I hopefully you're not the real Stephen A, but Stephen, I apologize for what I'm about to do right now. So first, I'll say what I like about the move.
Bruh.
I'll say what I like about the move. Okay, it's a quality bridge. All right, to not block Brett Beatty, who I still think is the future third baseman. I know Andrew think is the future third baseman of this team. My problem is that this is an extra 10 million AAV that you would have had a certain player, you would have been able to give to a certain player who just went to Detroit. We'll get into that later. Now, as a player, it's a quality death piece on a contending team. I mean, great. Listen, above average hitter for his entire career, peaked 4 years ago offensively, plays mediocre defense now. He's a plus base runner. I'll give him that, but that's probably not going to get better at age 33. He gets his RBIs. Great. Do it as a Met. I'm not saying he won't, but don't be surprised if he doesn't, because that has happened so many times with us. There you go.
You know why you're wrong on the Baez part?
Why?
The contract duration. The problem with Baez was not the money, it was the years. I talked about earlier with the 2 years get under the tax. Baez being paid for 6 years.
Didn't he get more AAV by the Tigers?
Yeah, he did. But what I'm saying is that's not why they didn't get Escobar did not block Baez. What blocked Baez was the years. So you shouldn't be mad about the Escobar sign because it hurts Baez. Has nothing to do with it. He's a 2-year contract.
If they wanted to overspend for Baez, they would overspend for the thing is what's Escobar making a year? 10?
Yeah.
They don't have this hard cap where they have to lose one. If they considered Baez as a franchise player, they wouldn't lose him over a guy they paid $10 million to.
I'd say you have somewhat of a restriction when you also have a 37-year-old steroid case as well that you're paying.
Well, yeah, that's the bigger problem. Cano, if anyone blocked Baez, it's Cano. It's not Escobar. That's for sure.
I don't think this is the piece. I don't think it is. That's just
we're not saying this is a long-term building block. Like I said, our strength of our farm system is at third base. So everyone's hyping these guys up, wanting to give them a shot. How are you going to give them a shot if you're paying a guy $200 million or $150 million?
What better third baseman you can get at $10 million AAV?
I would not have gotten a third baseman if you're not going to get I mean, if you're not going to get a guy like Chris Bryant or get somebody like that, because
So who's
again,
your third baseman if not J.D. Davis?
Mark Vientos.
Is he
Hello,
ready?
I'm forgetting about him.
He's a guarantee. So he's an exact guarantee that he's going to be good.
You look at this entire roster. The youngest person is 26.
That's why I agree with you. Call these guys up young. I mean,
I'm not saying
the youngest Ryan is
who hasn't hit spring training. Why are you giving him a guaranteed spot?
Yeah,
Why not
Escobar
bring
gives you
Escobar in?
insurance. Rookies
Escobar's
don't get it
stink.
going right
Get
away.
rid of him. Vientos can play. If Vientos comes up, he can stink. You send him down.
All right.
Don't
Well,
put your eggs
here's the
on
thing.
one very unknown basket.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to rearrange something on this team, it couldn't have been that entire infield. You got rid of possibly the best, and I'll get into this later, possibly the best middle infield we've probably ever seen, right? And then you have Escobar, you have Cano. I mean, yes, Brody Van Wagenen screwed us. I get that. But again, I still want to give some of these young guys a shot. I do want to give them a shot. And again, I still want to get guys that are experienced like that, but I don't think Escobar is a guy to fill that void for Javier Baez. It just isn't. Or fill that void for not getting Chris Bryant. It's just not it.
It's
Like,
not a guarantee you
come on.
don't get Chris Bryant. You can move Escobar
Yes,
over
that-
to third. You can DH him.
Yes, that's
Or
true, but
second.
if you got Chris Bryant, then why get Eduardo Escobar? Because you'd be available to get Baez too.
Well, I think the Mets are looking at a short-term deal. I mean, it clearly shows that the Mets are relying on Beatty or
There's
Vientos.
no
or
reason to do something short term when the guys in the middle should have been the long term.
But the thing is, well, if you're going to sign Brian, it's going to be for a long term.
Think about this.
So-
What do we know, though? I can't stand when people say, oh, we should have just brought him back. What if Baez didn't want to come back? What if he'd rather play in Detroit?
Why does Lindor? I don't
Why
know.
would he rather want to play in Detroit?
He wants to play shortstop.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. Baez is going to go to Comerica Park, and his offensive numbers are going to go
The
his
other
home run down.
Okay.
Maybe, okay, his doubles and triples may go up, but the overall home run, everything else.
The other people that block
Casual stats.
the other people that block Baez is also bringing in Canha and Marte because that got rid of the possibility of moving McNeil to the outfield. Now that you got two more outfielders, so now it's like the Mets like, oh, what are we gonna do with McNeil? Oh, what are we gonna do with Cano? What are we gonna do with this guy, that guy? That's what blocked Baez was bringing in three hitters when you're losing two hitters in Baez and Conforto. You brought in three over two. That's the problem. And Cano's coming in, so that's another guy. You're bringing in four guys for two spots.
That is true, but you
Cano's not
also
gonna get
lost.
every- he's not
You
gonna get
also
much
you
playing
also
time,
got you also lost Pilar and VR too. So you got
And
four
that's an
spots.
issue.
Yeah, well, those are
Dude,
bench
we're
guys.
upgrading
They're
our
not
team.
starters.
You also no. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's an issue. I'm saying
Okay.
that it's a good problem to have these good players on the bench. If you're moving, I'm moving McNeil to the bench. That's what I'm doing. After the year that he just had, he's starting up on the bench. I'm sorry. After the year
no,
he
I
just
got it.
had.
I got it. So
he's my
benching
starter.
McNeil-
Come on now.
Wait a second. We're benching McNeil, who had 3 great years, and we're starting a rookie instead. Got
If
it.
Vientos
That
is
makes
guaranteed a
sense to me.
spot. Exactly.
makes-
Exactly.
No,
he's in Cincinnati. That's where Jeff is.
He's going to
No.
be number one.
No.
Number
No.
one.
In New York.
You have Baez
Vientos is hitting
at
leadoff.
second.
No,
You have a guy-
said don't
you
sign
bring in
Escobar,
somebody.
You have Vientos start. You just said it. Don't sign Escobar. Have Vientos start. That's what you said.
Sure, why not?
Okay, got it. And put McNeil on the bench. Vientos starts, and don't sign Escobar. I love it. Sign me up.
Put fucking McNeil at third. I don't care. Like
Oh,
what?
yeah, we know how that goes.
Close
Put
that third.
or then get Chris Bryant. There was no reason to get Escobar.
Yes, there
Again,
was.
There was no reason.
Are you
It's the
happy
way
with
the
Max
lucky
Scherzer?
tax penalty
Carson,
works.
Carson,
You
are
don't
you
want to
happy
be a
with
There's
Scherzer?
no reason to get Escobar.
2-year stopgap, upgrade the offense, and then he's a free agent, and it's wide open for Beatty. If you
Yeah, and then
have
those guys
Baez-
in the outfield go in 2 years, and then Chris Bryant moves to the outfield. Beatty comes in.
Do you want Baez or Bryant? You're mad about Baez, and you keep bringing up Bryant. I mean, what's the problem?
Carson,
I
you know
want
Bryant's
Baez
a free
and
agent,
Bryant.
right?
That's who I want.
Well, now we're in loony land, and we
Okay,
have
and I
$400
want Max
million
Scherzer
payroll,
too.
so,
Unfortunately,
yeah,
money's
good luck
not
with that.
unlimited. There's still a luxury tax.
And then our draft picks get ruined with your great.
We're already
payroll
over the
because we have
luxury
every
tax.
player in the league. So yeah,
We're already over the luxury tax.
and bring back Conforto too, right? 200 million. Bring back Stroman, $500 million.
No, you already filled up that outfield. How are you going to bring back Conforto?
Well,
Yeah,
no,
we
because I mean we need $500 million.
The damage is already done. The damage is already done. You've already made your mistake.
I love it.
Okay.
All right.
Borto's coming back, man. We got the relationship with Boris dealt with.
All right. Second purchase of Black Friday was outfielder Mark Canha. The Mets signed Canha to a 2-year, $26.5 million contract. Year 3 club option as well. I think Escobar also has that. Canha is 32. He's played his entire career with the Athletics in 2021. 231 BA, 476 or 476, 746 OPS, 115 WRC plus, 2.5 BWAR in 625 plate appearances. He can play pretty much anywhere in the outfield. Let's start with Andrew Acevedo. What do you think about Mark Canha to the Mets?
Again, it's their Conforto replacement, or I guess if people are saying the Pilar replacement. You don't pay him $13 million to sit on the bench. This isn't a Pilar. You pay him $5 million and you put him on the bench. He's your starting left fielder. Enough with this. Oh, no, this will be your starting left fielder. And the Conforto replacement, right and left, wherever you want to put Nimmo. If Nimmo prefers to play left, he'll be in right. If he wants to prefer to play right, he'll be in left. Let Nimmo or Marte, whoever decide that, manager decide that. But again, good on base guy. You can put him at the bottom of the lineup. If there's a DH, potentially could be a great 9-hole hitter with him and Nimmo in front of Lindor, Baez, Shithead, or any of the other guys. If Chris Bryant's here, whatever, to produce some more runs. Good defensively, can play all 3 outfield spots, can play first base. If needed, desperately, can play third base, which I wouldn't expect seeing him playing third base. But again, good swing, good power. Every year he's played over 100 games, WRC plus over 100, over 105, I think. So again, productive player. It's a right-handed Conforto, but with a little more, I guess, consistency than a Conforto. So I like the move.
Oh, you had to sneak that in there at the end. Hayden, Mark Canha to the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I think Canha's honestly a pretty fair move. Another short-term deal. I'm always down to that. I mean, I guess for the casual fan, I'm guessing his batting average isn't as enticing as we want. But to pump out some advanced analytics on my end, seeing in 2019 he had an OPS plus of 146. In 2020, had an OPS plus of 124. And this past season in 2021, he had a 110 OPS plus. So, obviously he's more of a contact type of guy, but I think you have to look at it more in terms of his defense. His defense is pretty solid. That's what you like to see in him. Questionable where he's going to play. I mean, people are talking about if you move Nimmo in.
Did he cut out?
Hayden?
Your connection must have dropped.
I bet you right when I point to somebody, it's going to come back.
100%.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Elias Mark Canha.
Mark Canha. Solid signing. Really solid signing. Conforto replacement. Y'all know I'm happy about that. He's just a really solid overall player. Gets on base really well. To me, he's my right fielder. I like Nimmo more in left just because he doesn't have the greatest arm. He's probably also my backup center field. I don't want Nimmo in center, not just because he's not great in there. I don't want him getting hurt because he gets hurt. It's nothing against Nimmo. It's honestly, I'm trying to help the guy out. I don't want the guy getting injured. So yeah, you get another guy who's really good in the outfield, and gets on base really well. He probably hit towards the top of the lineup. He's just a solid veteran player again, and it's not too long of a commitment when hopefully the right fielder and for the Nationals hopefully becomes a free agent. You can sign him. Wouldn't that be sweet? But like I said, when there's guys who deserve the bigger commitment, bigger free agents, or you get a stud outfield prospect in the future, those are the guys you give the years to. So Mark Canha, I really like the move yet again. There's nothing really wrong with it. Was it a 2-year with? Is it a player or a team option?
Team.
Team. So
Team option. Yeah.
yeah. So whatever benefits the team is going to be, obviously what's going to
Apologies about that.
get picked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the signing. Again, my right fielder, super solid player. I'd honestly bring in another decent right fielder or decent outfielder like an Eddie Rosario or someone who could split times with these guys. Guys get good days off. Like I said before, it's not a huge commitment, so you can sacrifice him losing some playing time just to get a better matchup. You look at teams like the Giants and the Rays and stuff that play those matchups. I hope the Mets do more of that this year.
Can of corn. All right.
Oh yeah. Also, I think he's a big food guy too on his Instagram, so New York's going to be perfect for that.
Same.
That is true.
Same. So am I. All right. Frank about sports. Canha to the Mets.
Since I've made my video, I've warmed up a little bit to him. I like to move a little better, doing more and more research about him. And the main thing was that he gets hit by pitches a lot. He doesn't chase, and he also works counts. So if this is the Dog's vision of like these tough outs, guys that don't strike out a lot, put the ball in play, work the count. If you could do a line of that top to bottom, it helps you so much in the long term, especially in any kind of series. You wear out bullpens because if you have Nimmo giving you a tough at bat, as of right now, Jeff McNeil is on this team. He will work the count, just by fouling off pitches. We know Lindor could work the count. Then you got Escobar and you have Marte who's going to work the count, Canha. So all of a sudden, like, it's really tough to get through this lineup because these guys, they're going to get hit by the pitch, not chase, where so many times like Pilar and VR and Baez and McCann, they're bailing pitchers out, just chasing and whiffing at stuff. So if this is the new vision, Canha fits this perfectly because he just makes the whole lineup more complete and just getting on base, again, create more offense. I guess that's how weighted runs are created, is by how much Canha gets on base. So can't be mad about that.
All right. Did I give everybody? Everybody said? All right.
Did Hayden need to finish?
Hayden, did you want to finish anything up? Because you kind of cut out. Unless you lost the thought.
What was the last thing you guys heard me say?
Yeah, so that I don't think really.
He's a fair I don't know. Just overall, career OPS plus wise, he's pretty good. Solid defensively. Questionable if he's going to be put in left field. If he necessarily has the arm, then right field, probably not. People are questioning if he's a fourth outfielder. Probably not. Otherwise, solid move. I don't really know what you guys heard me say last, so I'm fine.
Is this true? Is he good against lefties?
Yes.
So we need that. Sorry, I had to just double check how right it was.
All right, well, guys, I'm seeing a lot of questions being sprinkled through the chat. So, guys, if you want to ask a question, I don't know if I still have the document link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys add us on Mets Weekly Show on Twitter, ask your question, and we'll do that towards the end of the show if we have time. So just add us. It's above my head. It's above all of us. No, it's just above me. Whatever. Okay, anyway, Mark Canha. I've been a fan of this guy for a long time, and my dad, he's an A's fan. I watch them a lot, and he's almost a carbon copy play style as Michael Conforto. So now I get to destroy these guys in debates about him now. I'm so excited. He gets on base, doesn't chase, uses the whole field. Pretty good base runner as well. Pretty well above average defender overall. He's overshadowed. He's slept on. He's an under-the-radar guy who plays his role very well. At 32 years old, he's a very well-rounded player, and I can't wait to finally see a guy who's whiter than me on my team. The impossible has happened. Okay.
McCann's up there, but,
McCann is up there. Nimmo, I don't know.
McCann, man. I told you he was elite.
We got that one on there too. Jeez, dude, we gotta sort those out from this. Okay, now the last pickup of Black Friday, the Mets signed Starling Marte to a 4-year, $78 million contract. He's 33 and has played for the Pirates, D-backs, Marlins, and most recently was traded to the Athletics. with Miami and Oakland in 2021. 310 BA. 841 OPS, 134 WRC plus, 4.7 BWAR in 526 plate appearances. Another guy that can play everywhere in the outfield. We'll start with Frank about sports on Marte. What do you think about this signing? Is this...
Well, this was really interesting because this was the third and final signing of Black Friday. And by that time, it was like, and it happened around midnight. So I was like, am I dreaming? Am I asleep? Like, did we really just get Starling Marte? And then the fact that we got Max Scherzer, and we've been talking so much about Scherzer, I keep forgetting that we even got Starling Marte because he's someone that, as much as I like him, I didn't think we were getting him, because we had Nimmo in center field. He played pretty well. Obviously, we had some other, bigger concerns. So I didn't think we were going to get Starling Marte as much as I would have liked him. But somehow we pulled it off because we got money like that, and we did get Marte. So I'm thrilled he's here. He's exactly what the Mets need, and particularly because he does not strike out a lot. He was under 100 strikeouts this year, and that's huge because, when you have Nimmo leading off, getting on base, Marte's going to put the ball in play. So he's going to move Nimmo over, whether it's via hit or just a good out, because we see so many times where the Mets, they didn't get productive outs where they pop up or they get into a double play or strikeout. And that was another main reason why they struggle with runners on base. But because Marte has a play style where with his elite speed, even though he hits a lot of ground balls, he was one of the top leaders in ground ball hits and not hitting into a lot of double plays despite hitting a lot of ground balls. And even with his age, this guy still led all of baseball in stolen bases, and he got most of his stolen bases with Oakland. So he was able to lead the league in stolen bases, and he did most of his damage in a very short amount of time. So hopefully the Mets take advantage of that because they don't really have a big-time stolen base threat. And what's good about Marte is not only does he steal bases, but he's also a smart base runner. So he's not going to run you out of innings and just keep getting picked off or, it's like, oh, he stole a bunch of bases, but look how many times he went. He wasn't efficient. No, it's not the case. Marte is efficient. I think he'll play center field this year, maybe next year, but then he can move to a corner where he was a corner outfielder for Arizona since they had Ketel Marte. So a lot of people compare it to the Granderson contract. I understand it, but I think he's going to be really nice to have the top of the order. And again, he's just going to fill that philosophy of just being a productive hitter no matter what. Always putting together good ABs. It helps you in the long term, and it just makes for a very solid offense.
I thought Starling Marte played center in Arizona and Ketel played second base. I might be wrong.
No, Ketel wasn't at second.
Well, I know Starling Marte has
second,
corner
but I remember
experience.
seeing
He was
Ketel in center and
Andrew
Starling
McCutcheon in center.
Frank doesn't have Twitter. Oh, you don't have Twitter. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's tough.
Stephen A doesn't have Twitter. He's always tweeting like cowboy shit.
Yeah, talking about Aaron Rodgers all the time, and
brother can play through 300 yards.
All right, Starling Marte, Elias. Starling Marte to the Mets.
This was like my number one realistic guy with the mindset of we can't get everybody when you think of all the big names. So this was like my number one tier 2 guy, and I really like the fit. He's the best true center fielder on the market. Like I've said, we need a true center fielder. Nimmo, he did improve in center field, but he's always getting hurt, and he plays way back, which you get a lot of blue pits and whatnot with stuff like that. Sorry, Andrew. But yeah, I really like this signing. Just like Mark Canha, I forgot to mention this with him. He hit well in Oakland in like the Raiders Stadium, as I call it, which is a super pitcher-friendly park. And he played the outfield there, which is a big outfield, a tough place to field as well. So again, I really like this signing. I remember back when he was getting traded from Pittsburgh, I'm pretty sure he was asked about, how would you feel about a trade to the Mets? And he said, yeah, it would be awesome for that to happen. That obviously didn't happen, thankfully, because people were saying we're going to have to trade Nimmo or, guys like that in that trade. So thankfully that didn't happen, but it all worked out. Starling Marte's a Met. Is the ground ball thing, the getting up there in age, a bit concerning? Yeah, 4 years. Do I like it? Not necessarily, but you do need to overpay in some way to get these guys to come here. This is, again, the best, maybe really only true everyday center fielder on the market. He had a lot of suitors, so I'm glad the Mets got him. Also, the way we got him, it was just at midnight, and John Heyman tweets, Marte to the Mets, physical pending. It's like, I didn't hear any buzz about this, anything. and it's just done deal, physical pending. It caught me off guard, but man, a good off guard because I really like the signing. I know I've been uber positive tonight, but I really like all these signings. So Marte, I'd give again really good signing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blocked by Heyman, so I wasn't able to see it like initially, but then I was like, okay, yeah, there we go.
People are probably quote tweeting at you. What's he tweeting about?
Yeah, that's the problem. When people like spam it on my timeline, I see the Heyman link, and there's ones where like I see like 10 in a row, and I'm like,
and the Stroman tweets for I think all of us.
Yeah. Hayden, Marte to the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really honestly glad Marte came to the Mets. Regardless of his age, 33. He'll be a Met till he's 37. That's a little worrisome. Yes, he'll probably be your center fielder, depending if you move Nimmo over. But what's always good is, he could play the first year and a half of his contract in center field. But, maybe you could shift him over to left field in the second, third, fourth year, depending on, age. And obviously left field is really kind of where you put your least talented position players. So you could always throw him in left field. Not super worried about that. Overall, I think he's going to be a great help to this team. We all know that I love stolen bases and speed on the base pass. The athleticism is very important. 55 stolen bases this past season. The New York Mets, as a team, had 48 stolen bases. That really goes to show you a lot. And I mean, the only guys you really have on this team that could, steal bags is just really Lindor at this rate. McNeil could, snag a couple. Nimmo definitely. They weren't really able to do it this past season because they had hamstring injuries. Don't get me wrong, Alonso could chug, 2-3 stolen bases. So I mean, I'm definitely down to that. But overall, I really think Marte is a great signing. Definitely great outfielder. Mets, I mean, you guys have said it a million times. Mets haven't really had a full-on center fielder since, when? The Beltran era? I mean, and if we're talking about actually an effective everyday center fielder from the defensive point, I guess Gold Glover Juan Lagares. But that's because they were giving a gold glove to every single team. So yeah, really good. Finally they got someone for the outfield, and I think Marte is a good fit. He has speed, and that speed, you need to create runs.
All right. Rhino reaction to Marte on the Mets.
Oh, we replaced an injury-prone center fielder with an older injury-prone center fielder. That's great. Love it. Love a 33-year-old with historical injury prospect or history with a younger, better center fielder with injury prospect. Obviously, it's a good move. Again, as much as, that is who the center fielder needs to be because he's younger. I get it. Marte's probably better defensively overall-wise, but he's going to start. Forgot that's on the soundboard. I was like, what? But yeah.
Yeah, that's confusing me. We might just have to have sound effects on that. That's getting a little creepy.
It's like, I didn't see your lips moving, but I'm like, I forgot that's on the soundboard. But it's all good. But
I'm thinking like there's people behind me now. It's like fucking weird shit.
But yeah, so as much as again that's the center fielder, I get it. He's probably better defensively, but his defense is going to decline as he gets older. So again, you move him to right, and you can cover again with Lindor if you had a better defensive second baseman with some speed, which we had, but we let him go. You could allow Nimmo to play deeper because you would have speed at second base and one of the two, the best defensive up the middle, who can cover those little bloopers in the middle, so Nimmo can play deep. But yeah, Marte's a good player. Good again, speed. He's gonna steal bases, create runs with havoc. I like the move. Again, I don't like moving Nimmo to the corner, but you know what? Create some offense. I'll take it. But again, this could be great move, and the contract could be great, or again, it's just $78 million for a guy that can blow out his ACL in the first, and historically has had injury problems. So again, we'll see.
He hasn't had massive injuries where he's missing entire seasons, though. He's been banged up a little bit here or there.
Again, so he's like Nimmo. He's gonna miss you a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, and he's older. So
injuries, like it's had like a neck,
yeah, the neck was the big one, but
yeah, it's a good player. Just I don't know. Just screams. This could be. It could be great. It could be a great contract, or it could be a really bad contract. That's the boomer bust.
What I want them to do is, whoever the fucking manager is, because we don't even know if we have spring training. We don't even know at this point. I want them to try Canha, Nimmo, and Marte all in the 3 like at spring
You
training,
moved
all
yeah.
three like outfield positions. Like, see which one fits the best. Like,
Yeah,
which
I agree with
combination
that.
fits the best.
I don't think Canha should be a center fielder. It's between Marte.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But
Yeah, it's between Marte and Nimmo.
But also, like, this too, like, when's the last time we had three true outfielders as our outfielders? And I mean, also, even if you look back at 2015, we didn't have a true center fielder where you're taking one of these guys out and putting Juan Lagares, late in games. You had like Cespedes.
Yeah, they don't
center
need to do any late
like
game
that.
defensive replacements. You have to bring it
Exactly.
down 4 at the end of the game and risk him getting an AB in case it gets tied or whatever. So
You bring him in to pinch hit against a lefty.
Oh, well, that's not gonna happen either anymore. So I mean, it just shows the improvements they're making, like Canha or Marte. Like, that's a huge improvement over Pilar and Almora.
I like
So,
this comment.
I love that.
all right, well,
Swag. Does he?
Everyone's got like no swagger.
he's got
so-
nice. Hey, okay. Canha's got some nice bat flips, but like, he's kind of a quiet guy. But yeah, I'm neutral about this one. I think I'm gonna go with Andrew on this one. I have my concerns, but he's a great player. Now the age does worry me a little bit, and I don't think his bat has much sustainability in it, but he fills weaknesses that the Mets had this season. And, it gives you the similar vibe to Curtis Granderson. Still a lot left in the tank, is a smart baseball player, aside from taking steroids a few years ago. But a great clubhouse guy. And, I would have preferred to maybe keep Conforto over this move, but you know what? What do I know? I'm just an idiot.
Again,
We had a good amount of weaknesses become possible strengths with this edition. So, it can go either way. I'm fine with it. I'm not as skeptical as I am with Escobar, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. Anyway, now let's get into the former Mets who have left us and broke up with us. Okay. The first was Aaron Loup. He signed a 2-year, $17 million contract with the Angels. That's right. They took another one. At age 33, Loup had an incredible season out of the bullpen for the Mets. He was arguably the best player of the full season, obviously excluding Jacob degrom because he had only one half of a season. Now he's 34, and the Mets have rotated and have been on short on left-handed pitching in the last few years. But did the Mets make a mistake not matching the Angels' offer? There's tons of things you can unpack from this situation. So I'm going to just start with the Rhino. Did they make a mistake not matching the offer?
No, I'm a big advocate. I don't like paying relievers more than 1 year. If it was a 1+1, if the Angels were, again, 1 year deal with a mutual option for a second year, 100%. But I don't give multi-year offers. I think the Razel Iglesias move that they just signed is the dumbest thing, like the Liam Hendricks deal. As good as Liam Hendricks is, I don't pay relievers multi-years. Hader may be the only reliever I'd ever give a multi-year deal to. Relievers are so up and down. Look at our closer. The relievers are so up and down. Which, again, Loop's great. Was great in Tampa Bay in 2020. So now you got, do you care about 2020? But he was great in 2021. Again, the age does scare me a little bit. But again, he's younger than Diekman. I know Frank's going to say that no Deek's available and he's younger. Chafin, same thing's only kind of a 1 year deal thing. But again, Sandy Alderson has found these guys with the relievers. And that's been the one thing. And Epdog, who says Epdog can't find a guy to find another version of Aaron Loup? So again, is he going to find a guy as historic as Loop's season was last year? No, because Loup had a tremendous year. Don't get me wrong. But you can find guys for cheaper to find those roles. So is it a bad thing that they didn't match it? No. Do I hate that he's not the Mets aren't going to get him this year? Of course, I'm going to be upset. But again, for bullpen guys, up and down, it's not worth the risk in my opinion.
All right. Hayden, did the Mets make a mistake not matching the Angels' offer?
You know what? It's really honestly tough with relievers. They're very streaky. You have a good year, you have a bad year. For the most part, really, Aaron Loup, I think I've heard his name like once or twice, honestly, before the Mets acquired him. I really just knew he was a submarine type of guy from the Rays, and I said, hey, the Rays, they always turn their pitches around. So maybe he could do something to the Mets. His first appearance with the Mets, he hits Bryce Harper, bases loaded. So that was unfortunate. Pretty much since then, he was elite. I mean, giving up 1 home run the whole season to Juan Soto. Only 2 extra base hits the whole season. That's elite. He was put in any situation. Bases loaded, nobody out, 7th inning, got out of it. He started some games, and he was an opener in the 1st inning. He was thrown in the 7th. He was thrown in the 8th. He was elite in any position you put him in. Unfortunately, Rojas, well, he didn't really manage him super well. He didn't let him pitch many innings. He only pitched like 50 innings this year, which was kind of tough, but whatever. Otherwise, I think it's unfortunate the Mets lost Loup. I really said in all my streams and all my videos and all that stuff that Loup would be an easy signing to come back. You can get him, not super crazy. You get him on another 1-year deal just because I'm not super crazy. Like Andrew said, I'm not super crazy about giving relievers multi-year deals just because they're streaky. Otherwise, I wish him the best of luck with the Angels. Did the Mets make a mistake? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's definitely a bite, but we'll see how he turns out in Anaheim. I'm definitely gonna miss his press conferences though.
And the Busch Light, cracking it open and taking the question. All right, Frank about sports. Did the Mets make a mistake not matching the Angels' offer?
I think it remains to be seen only because the Mets still have not done anything to address the loss of Aaron Loup or just upgrading their bullpen in general. So until we see what the Mets' other option is, like, okay, we didn't get Loup because we got, whether it is Chafin, Diekman, Rogers, whoever it is. I mean, Brad Hand, who knows who the Mets are going to get. But when the Mets do make that decision and the contract they give to that player, that's when we'll know if it was a mistake. Like, oh, well, if you're going to give this money to Andrew Chafin, you might as well just kept Aaron Loup. So we'll just see how it goes. There's still a lot of offseason left, and we'll just go from there. But it's really too early to tell because we don't know how Loup's going to pitch with the Angels. Maybe this year he's good, but the second year of the contract is a disaster because that is how relievers are. So it's just so hard to predict and evaluate how a reliever contract is going to work out. And I want to see what the Mets' backup plan is because Andrew talked about Sandy finding guys under the radar. Loup was an under the radar guy. I mean, when we look at, the Mets got him last minute, well, not last minute, but pretty late in the offseason. Only $3 million. We didn't have, we know he's going to have an under 1 ERA. He's going to pitch in every inning. He's going to do all these different things, multi-innings. Like, none of us had that expectation with him. So I just hope that they could do that again. Like, find the next Aaron Loup. Find a guy for $3 million that puts together a really good season and not necessarily overachieves, but, exceeds expectations. That has to be the goal. Just replicate it. I mean, there are other teams that do it all the time. So I'd like to see the Mets continue that.
Maybe draft and develop one?
Josh Walker in AAA. Just saying.
Josh Walker, yes, sir.
Don't trade lefty relievers for Jake Marisnik. Things like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. We can go on and on about that. Anyway, I'm not personally upset about this. Age and the relief pitching position, it's pretty much been said. If he was younger and a little bit younger, like Trevor May, maybe I would have. But I also like with Josh Walker, I have some confidence in some of these in-house guys, to be lefty options for this bullpen. I still want them to get 2 other ones who are actually proven. It sucks to see him go, because he was looking like the steal of the year right there. But I'm not going to commit, to a 34-year-old reliever, almost any reliever. We already did that in 2019, and whatever I can say about the guy's skill, it was a mess. The trade was a complete mess. Anyway, now let's get into the man who next man who left us. Oh, Elias, my bad. I just answered before you. Wow, I'm a terrible host. Elias, was it a mistake that they didn't match the offer for Loup?
So, yeah, I am bummed we lost him. Loup, there it is no more Busch Light, unfortunately. But it was not a mistake. We didn't match that contract. For most relievers, I'm maxing out at 2 years, and that's being nice. Like everyone said, relievers are just so up and down. And Loup, when we got him, people were saying that's an overpay. And they were like, $3 million for this guy? That's an overpay. And he turned out to have a below 1 ERA. There's guys like that who if you can scout relievers well, we'll have maybe not a below 1 ERA, but stud years like Loup did, under the radar guys. There's plenty of lefties available. I hope we can get at least 2 of them. 3 would be nice, honestly. You can never have enough, relievers, especially lefties, especially in this division when you got some big left-handed bats. Now that's to be seen if, Freddie Freeman doesn't re-sign with the Braves. But again, Loup sucks losing him, but I'm not mad when you see what the contract is. And also I'm kind of glad the Angels get, relief, bullpen help, pitching help. You need Trout and Ohtani to go to the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking about Josh Walker right now. That dude's pretty good. Yeah. All right.
Is he? I'm not familiar with him. I'll have to look up a bit on him.
He'll probably be in spring training if we have one. But
summer camp coming back.
Ugh, God. Anyway, the next guy that broke up with us was the big one. The magician, he disappeared. El Mago's gone. Javier Baez has signed a 6-year, $140 million contract with the Tigers with an opt-out after year 2. To recap, the Mets traded for Baez at the deadline for with Trevor Williams for one of their top prospects, Pete Crow Armstrong. The Mets apparently did offer 5 years to him, but the Tigers were able to outbid. So I'll let everybody get their take on this. There's a lot of stuff that you can unpack with this situation. So how big of a loss is Javier Baez to the Mets? I'm going to start with Elias since I skipped him last time.
Yeah, so it's definitely a tough loss. I obviously, before we got him, was super anti-Baez, and then I definitely warmed up on him because he definitely played very well with the Mets. It's interesting because fortunately you have a good backup plan at second base if you want to call Jeff McNeil that. I don't know how comfortable I am rolling into the season with them. It is a tough loss. I always worried about, like Frank said, with the years with Javi Baez. You always knew you're going to get maybe 3 good years out of him. And, he's a player that a lot of his strength is built on his athleticism. Great base runner, great fielder. When that goes, you see a lot of his production go. But, you're going to miss him for sure. The thing I do like about him, I was talking with Hayden in our group chat about this. Lindor lost his guy. He needs to now prove it that if he's trying to recruit guys and, ask the organization to get guys, he's got to play good too. Because Javi Baez came over, played well. Lindor didn't. So I guess this should be a kick in the ass to Lindor to say, hey, pick it up, man. Am I saying Lindor is a bust? He's going to suck? No. But, it's a tough loss. Again, though, Detroit gave him a really good offer. I never get that mad when another team blows, him away with a contract. I never thought he was going to get that 6 for 200 craziness he wanted. But, it would have been nice to bring him back. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion.
All right. I think I have 130 on the graphic. It's 140, right? 140? Okay. Oh, well. Hayden, how big of a loss is Javier Baez?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's definitely an unfortunate loss. When we first got Baez, Elias, myself, a lot of other Met fans were kind of like, really? He was a guy who struck out a lot, didn't have good play discipline. He'd be swinging at every other pitch. He came to the Mets and he just said, shut the hell up, Hayden. I'm going to show you what I can do. And he hit for power, hit for some power the opposite way, had great play discipline, limited his strikeouts, increased his walks, became more of a fundamental hitter. His defense, fine, adequate, no complaints really. Some chemistry issues, okay, whatever. I think the big thing about the chemistry with Baez, the whole thumbs down thing, is that there was really no leader in the clubhouse. Rojas was clueless. He would say, I don't know. He didn't know anything. If you were a real manager in the clubhouse, guarantee you 99% of the shit that happened this year would have not happened. And I'm talking with Marcus Stroman's behavior, Francisco Lindor's and Javier Baez with the whole the thumbs down, the McNeil-Lindor fight. None of that would have happened. But that's besides the point. Back to Baez. I know I keep getting sidetracked. It's an unfortunate loss. What more exasperates me, and you guys probably said it when I was in the other room, is that the Mets gave up their 5th best prospect in Pete Crow Armstrong. For what? a 47, 48 game rental, that's just really unfortunate. The Mets are trying to build, they're trying to construct outfield depth in the farm system. Not very loaded. So it just really sucks to see the Mets just throw him away for a guy for 47 games who the Mets didn't even go anywhere with him. So it's kind of unfortunate. I really would have liked Baez on this team next season. But, good for him. He's going to the Tigers. Maybe we'll see. Could the Tigers still go after Correa? Maybe. I mean, maybe Nico Goodrum, they'll probably put him on the bench. Put Baez at second, Correa at third, Candelario at third. It's not bad. Just depends if they're willing to spend on it. But is it a big loss? Yes. Is it the end of the world? No.
All right. Frank, about sports, how big of a loss is Javier Baez?
It is a big loss for sure. I mean, it was exciting to see him in the short sample size that we did. I was a big advocate for Javier Baez just about before anybody else was, especially as far as like the main Met fan base. A lot of people didn't want him, strikes out too much, chases too much. I said he could do so many other things that, the strikeouts don't look as bad with the other stuff that he does for you. And now, all of a sudden, he was the greatest player in Mets history because he played well in a very short sample size after Met fans were booing him for how much he was striking out. So once the thumbs down thing happened, that's when we started playing really well. And now everyone's like, oh, my God, we lost Baez, and they can't get over it. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. But if the Mets actually do get Chris Bryant, if that does happen, the loss of Javier Baez will not be as bad. I think the combination of Escobar plus Marte – plus, I know Jeff McNeil will be better next year. Makes it not as bad. And Javier Baez, he's going to play really well this year. He's going to play really well next year, probably the year after that. But years 4 through 6, I wouldn't anticipate him playing as well. Like Leah said, the speed. I mean, because the thing about Baez, he makes up the strikeouts what he does on the bases. It'll be hard to do that in the bases when you're aging. The way he swings with the bat, just straight up swinging like crazy. Not necessarily, good bat to ball skills, just taking crazy power swings. It's hard to do that when you're aging. He's had some lower body, nagging injuries. It happened this year with his foot. We saw him, go on the IL for a little bit. That's not good as far as if you want how a player's going to play in years 5 through 6. So we'll see how it goes. I do think the years is what turned the Mets off because the report was the Mets offered him like 5 years, 125. And then once Detroit came in with year 6, the Mets were like, we're not going to match that. Because, again, the problem with Baez was going to be years 4 through 6. And the way the tax works, like I said earlier, the whole repeater penalty thing, that's something that teams try to avoid. You'll see a team like the Dodgers or the Red Sox go over the tax and then try to get back under for a little bit. And that's why the Mets have focused on, going really crazy these first 2 years and then get back under the tax. It'd be a little hard to do that if you did have another long-term big contract like Baez. It is really unfortunate because you would have loved to have seen him and Lindor up the middle for a long time, making a bunch of great double plays and things like that. And it would be nice to have, one more bat right in the middle of the order, another power bat in the middle of the order. But again, if Eppler's vision is guys that don't strike out a lot, work the count, put ball in play, Baez is not that. He does not fit the vision. And Eppler did not trade Pico Armstrong for Javier Baez. That's something that Zach Scott did. So maybe he didn't feel that same attachment to Baez that Scott did. And even though I wanted Baez from the beginning, I never wanted to trade away Pico Armstrong from him. I said the day we got him, I said, I really don't love that despite the injury. But it happened. There's nothing you could do about it. Second center field prospect Mets have traded away. But it's unfortunate. I wish him the best in short. I hope he plays really well. But I could understand both sides. Once the Mets got Scherzer, I was like, all right, you know what? We're over the tax and we have the highest payroll in the league. Do we really need to add another big contract? I mean, that's kind of asking a lot. Despite how much money the Mets have, I feel like that's a little unrealistic. So I understand where they're coming from.
Oh, right. Andrew, how big of a loss is Javier Baez?
Pretty damn big. Not only just for the roster for this year, but potentially other roster moves. You lose Baez, McNeil's got to go back. Everyone loving McNeil, whereas WRC Plus and his batting average has declined since the second half of his All-Star year. Besides the point, again, had a bad year. Also, you had Javi. You could potentially trade a Jeff McNeil for a potential elite number 3 starter, which, again, what's more valuable to a team? Having opposite, obviously, you're not going to get a guy caliber of Max and Jake after the fact. put to get a higher quality number 3 than a guy like a Yusei Kikuchi or who else has the Mets have been available? They're not going to sign Kershaw, so I take Kershaw out. But any other like the free agent guys, you can go out and get a number 3, a really good number 3 with potentially trading Jeff McNeil. Also, the Mets are making the same type of player at every single position, kind of like the Yankees are, where they're all swing and miss guys. They only have DJ LeMahieu. The Mets are going the opposite, but also you need some creativity in a lineup. You can have a bunch of guys that get on base, but if no one's going to, let's say they're all looking for their certain pitch, but they need a guy besides Shithead, because Alonso's the only guy who isn't the mold of a Billy Eppler type guy, where he's going to chase a lot, hit a lot of homers, hit for power. That's all the Mets have right now is Pete Alonso. You put Javi in there with the the on-base guys with Nimmo, Marte, and all that. Potentially, he's going to swing at a bad pitch, but he's going to at least take a risk at trying to make a good play. Where the other guys like Escobar, Canha, they're going to be conservative. They're going to draw the walks and all that. When yes, those guys are going to be great for this lineup. Again, bring the pitch, like Frank said, bring the pitcher's count, go deep in the bullpens. That's all great. But you can't mill the same type of lineup at every single position. You kind of need some diversity. And yes, Javi's got his negatives, but Javi has his positives. And yes, and what has been one thing that we talk about when the Mets add players? How do they play in New York? Javi Baez, again, that first 2 weeks with the booing and all that, but then after that, he looks Cespedes-like. Yes, they didn't carry us to the playoffs, of course not. But he was the only one in our lineup doing anything in September. Everyone was ice cold, and Javi Baez hitting homers, stealing bases, hitting doubles, driving, playing, doing everything offensively when the rest of the team was doing nothing. But yes, the 6-year, is it always a problem? Giving a long-term contract to anyone, the back half of the contract is going to suck. Name me a contract that was good over 6 years, that the player was good all 6 years. Again, the rare occurrence of Max Scherzer, but name another one. The point. If you win a World Series in the first 3 of the contract, I don't care what the back. And I'm not saying Javi Baez is going to guarantee us a World Series. But Javi Baez is a better chance of winning a World Series and potentially building a better roster because you have flexibility. Now McNeil is potentially expendable to acquire a better asset, a more valuable asset to this team right now if Javi's at second. But now you have to keep Jeff McNeil. And now you lose. And Jeff McNeil, again, is the same type of player as an Eduardo Escobar, as a Mark Canha, as a Brandon Nimmo, as Starling Marte. Yes, could he bounce back 100%? But I'm not banking on it, especially as his numbers have declined since the second half of 2019. So yes, it's a big loss for the Mets to lose Javi. For everybody's sake, Jeff McNeil better bounce back. Because if he doesn't, and yes, Javi Baez's number is going to decline in Detroit 100%. Because he's going to a freaking cavernous ballpark. Homers are going to die, and triples and doubles are going to go up. But again, everyone's going to yell about the years. Javi was more important to what most people think he is to the Mets. Again, McNeil, spotlight's on you. Bounce back and shut everybody up.
Can I just respond to this real quick?
Yeah.
What's the guarantee that Baez is going to stay the way he played with us in the second half? Look at 2020.
He's not.
But look how many players on the Mets had great 60-game stretches in 2020 and sucked the next year. Like, Baez has had 2 years, or I guess 2.5 years. 19 he was good. 20 he was horrific.
Terrible, yeah. 18 was good. And
he wasn't good. And
he wasn't
the Cubs at the beginning.
No.
So what is this guarantee that he's going to be this great player again?
What's the guarantee that McNeil's going to work out? It
exactly.
barely worked out this year.
It's not going to work out.
It barely worked out this year. Him and Lindor almost killed each other.
And now we're going to put that back together.
And then they had their arms around each other in the post-game press conference after they killed each other. So
yeah, I mean,
people change when there's cameras around. You notice that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they got through months perfectly fine up the middle after the whole raccoon thing. And then that was in the beginning of the season. Baez didn't get here until what, August? They were fine.
So you're saying that McNeil has never had any more hothead moments throughout the rest of the season?
Obviously, McNeil's a hothead. So?
Is there an issue with that? The dude we just gave $43 million to is a hothead. Dude fucking took his pants off.
Yeah, but he's a more proven player than Jack McNeil. Way more proven
I
player.
actually want to bring one huge thing about McNeil's a hothead. And I said it before and I'm saying it again. Did McNeil do this in 2019? Did Marcus Stroman, when Marcus Stroman came to the Mets, did he do the crap that he was doing with the Mets this year with the clubhouse? No. Why do you think that was?
What does Stroman do in the clubhouse?
What does he do in the clubhouse?
What doesn't he do? Do you see what Stroman's doing online? Do you see what's wrong?
But that's off the field. That's off the
Stroman
square.
did not pull any of that crap in 2019. Because he was new. No.
What?
Because no one yelled at him this season. There was no manager in there that gave a damn about that.
Mickey Callaway's this elite manager who holds everyone accountable.
Point that I'm trying to make is everyone talks about all this
Barely held
animosity that happened with the Mets.
Mickey Callaway
And it's
barely
because
held
Rojas was shit. That is why. Rojas was shit.
Yeah, I think we can come to that conclusion.
I just want to bring up because everyone says,
Mickey Callaway was
hothead.
elite, though.
He wasn't in
Callaway was
2019. I don't see. I mean, I didn't see us throw him his helmet at all in 2019.
What were you watching?
What I don't get is
just
that
have a good year.
McNeil batted for over 300 every single year he was here, except this year. But Michael Conforto's going to bounce back for sure. But Jeff McNeil, he probably won't bounce
Exactly.
The damage,
That's the part I don't get.
the damage. It's not that he's.
Well, I think
we talked about
Conforto's
this
more.
We talked about this yesterday on Andrew's channel. It's not that he's not going to bounce back. I think he'll do fine. But the thing is that the damage is already done. Lindor is here for the next 10 years.
Right.
You can't have him alongside him when you've had history of these guys going at each other. It just can't happen.
But they
This
did.
is not. This is not.
But they
I
did.
mean,
For
as
one
much as I'd
follow-
love for it to be, this ain't the '86 Mets. They can't be clawing at each other and killing each other.
Yeah, but what about when the Mets were in first place all those days with McNeil and Lindor up the middle? Was there a problem?
I mean,
McNeil still wasn't hitting, so.
Carson,
Lindor
McNeil
wasn't
was-
either. Lindor was worse than McNeil. Lindor was worse.
McNeil was hurt.
Can I
Not
say
the
one
whole
thing real
season.
quick? Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Yeah, McNeil was bad. So is Francisco Lindor. If Francisco Lindor has this issue with Jeff McNeil and talks his way and gets McNeil out of it, what kind of message does that send? That because he gets paid
It sends
a
the
ton of
message that I'm a proven player and I'm a good player and you should listen to me.
played like shit last year, dude. He got his fucking boy Javi Baez. He still played like shit after. He was a bit better. Yeah, he had the 3 home run game. Obviously, that might be a bit tainted with the type of ball they were using. I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. But he already got his guy, his like best friend, and he's getting the guy he doesn't like out of here after having a shit year. So what kind of message does that send? That
They already
you can
invested
play
so
like-
much into Lindor. Why don't give
I
Lindor
understand.
what he needs to succeed? Not
Lindor
tell him,
is
oh,
fucking-
tough shit. I mean, do you want to win or not? Like, that's the
I
question.
do. We were
What if
winning with
Lindor doesn't
McNeil
like
and
Baez?
Lindor playing well together at the beginning of the year. I don't think one little scuffle makes it so the whole for there it's over for Jeff McNeil. Like I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying it's over for Jeff McNeil. I'm saying that in this clubhouse,
There's
there's been problems with him. Not to mention
Get a good manager who
individually
can
when he's
freaking
struggling.
Keep the character.
The pressure is going to get even bigger. This team is on a big stage now. New ownership, new this, new that. It's going to get into his head if he does not play well. And screaming at the top of your lungs when you're 30 years old is not going to fix that.
I think if Lindor and
Max
McNeil
Scherzer
hate each other
came
that much, Baez would have still been here. I feel like the Mets feel like they could get over, or else they want to let Baez go.
Yeah, I mean, from what we know, they must have resolved it. But from what I see, it's got to help out because when Baez was there, when this or that, McNeil looked terrible. McNeil was all over the place.
Well, the whole year it was like that. So.
Yo, the whole year, the whole year it was like
good.
that, and it got worse. I feel bad for the guy, but the damage is already done. That's what I'm saying. You already invested into Lindor. The damage is already done. I feel bad
I
for
just
Jeff.
don't see how you
He's one of our
keep
homegrown
up.
guys.
You think Lindor and Cano will get along up the middle?
I don't think Cano. I don't think Cano will last on a baseball field. I think he'll probably I'm not going to say that, but to be honest, I'm rooting for him to take steroids again, so he gets permanent ban.
That's why Marte's here.
Yeah, that's why Marte.
Exactly.
Get him juiced up again, and boom, he's done.
Yeah, why not? Exactly. You get rid of the back
McNeil's
3
on
years of
roids.
your contract
That's
for
right.
Marte. There you go.
McNeil roids confirmed. He roid rages. That's his issue. Take away the
If he
roids,
was on roids, then why didn't he hit well this
he'll
year?
be fine.
Because they weren't good.
D. Gordon took roids and still looked like a twig. It's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I I just don't think Baez fits Epler's vision. I mean, maybe Epler didn't love him. It's possible.
And that's the reason why they needed him here.
Why is Cano all of a sudden getting a huge role on this team? Like this comment says Cano is going to be the DH. He's going to be a bench guy unless he gets bought out and they get his ass out of here.
He's getting paid $24 million. Who else is going to DH?
Is it 24 million? 21 million?
23, 20, whatever
23?
it is. The Mariners pay 3 point whatever.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Who makes that deal? Jesus Christ.
Brody Van Wagenen.
Brody Van Wagenen.
That's great.
Let's go to somebody we don't like.
Got the Cano for they got the contract for him and then brought him in. So Brody.
When does Cano's contract expire?
2
After
years.
next year.
Like I talked about with that whole having the books wide open in 2 years, that goes along with Baez's opt out. But
He said.
Won't opt out.
He said, "Let's win a World Series in 3 to 5 years." There you go. He said, "Once Cano's out of here, I'm pushing it all. I'm getting Juan Soto. I'm getting Freddie Freeman.
Beane would have won an
We're gonna
MVP
win
by
this
then.
fucking
It would be
thing
good.
all- Yeah. All right.
Lock Shithead up. Lock Nimmo up.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring back Thor after he has his revival year with the Angels. Bring back Conforto as a backup.
Make him a coach.
No, maybe we're coach. Yeah, definitely batting, hitting
Make
coach.
him a coach. Make him a coach. Yes.
Y'all run your mouth a lot about Conforto, and y'all are really gonna regret it.
It gets
If
you
they play
going. And
baseball.
it's so much fun. It's so much fun, dude. It gets
If
you
they
going.
play baseball.
Yeah.
Because listen, I can't stand stupidity. That's my problem. Okay, that's just a flaw I have. I can't stand stupidity.
Then why do you hang out with me?
Baez wing.
Well, stupidity complements stupidity when you're in the middle of the night and just making stupid jokes, especially when you're texting me them during the stream, and I'm literally just planning your death. Okay.
It's a great quote.
Final
right
one.
There we go.
There we go.
I should use this I should have used this as my yearbook quote.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
And to add
I
Michael
have-
Wacha and Rick Porcello, come and get us.
Didn't I send that? Didn't
In
I
the
send
group-
that to our
yeah.
group chat once? Yeah. I was like, "Good night, guys."
No, yeah.
All right. The final man who just left us yesterday, hours before the lockout, or like less than an hour before the lockout. I don't know. Math. Marcus Stroman signed a 3-year, $71 million contract with the Cubbies. Now, while the whole Gausman-Scherzer market was hot, Stroman made his presence known on Twitter. I'll get these guys, let these guys, dupe out whatever details, whatever thoughts they have about this. Lots to unpack. So I guess the main question here, I'll wrap around here and everybody can go off on whatever tangent they want to, is how should Mets fans view Stroman's time in Queens? There's been a lot, especially since the guy was not here that long, but there was a lot. Anyways, yeah, sure, why not?
Lefty killer.
So I will start with
Nice guy. Toms River, New Jersey. Met Derek Jeter.
Jesus Christ. All right. I'll start with Frank about sports. What Stroman, what comes to your mind? How do you view this whole situation?
Well, a lot comes to mind, but when you talk about his time in Queens, I go back to when we first acquired him, when the Mets, thought they were going on a run after being the terrible Pittsburgh Pirates, after having a really disappointing season, and this whole idea of replacing Zach Wheeler and Marcus Stroman. And it's like, if we had the time machine and we could do it all over again, you never make the Stroman trade and you just re-sign Wheeler. Everything would have been so much easier and just overall better for the Mets had they done that. Marcus pitched really well this year. You got to give him credit for that. He did it in New York. Maybe because of the contract year, we'll find out, depending on how he does in Chicago. Top 10 ERA, you like that. What's unfortunate, though, is that, the Mets got Scherzer. Obviously, I love that. But so far as the way the rotation is, all the Mets have done is replace Stroman with Scherzer. So, like, there still needs to be a lot more work done for the rotation. They still got to get more guys. Just because if Walker struggles again, if Carrasco gets hurt and struggles again, I mean, so you got DeGrom and Scherzer, that's great. But if nobody else is pitching well, then you're kind of screwed. So it would have been cool to have Scherzer and Stroman. Like, that would have been great. But obviously, I don't think that was going to happen once you think that the Mets are racist or whatever it was. I don't really – no, because like I said before, I blocked him. Since he blocked everyone else, I blocked him because it was just constantly on my feed. I was like, I just need something different on my feed besides Stroman raving about himself every 20
Should have
minutes.
just tweeted him, "You suck," and you'd get banned or gotten blocked in the next 5
No,
seconds.
I want to block him so that if any case he somehow he saw one of my tweets, he would see that he was blocked. It was just like, I don't know. I feel like that would really shake him up if that ever happened. But regardless, it's unfortunate. He pitched well. Again, similar to Baez. I wish him the best for Chicago. Hopefully he pitches well there. But other than that, I don't really have too much. I just want to see the Mets add more starting pitching. That's what it comes down to.
Okay. God, I wish Tony was here for this one.
Yeah.
Elias,
Tony, you got the link. Come back.
Elias Stroman. What's the deal overall?
Okay, so I'm going to miss Stroman, the pitcher. No doubt about that. He goes out there every 5 days. He never gets hurt. He's a really solid player. But the last couple of months, the dude has just been driving me crazy. And that's saying a lot because I'm blocked by him. So it's hard for him to drive me crazy because, I can avoid it easily. I'm not physically able to see his tweets and whatnot. But the thing is, I think because we got so mad at him as, his personality, we didn't even really blink an eye. We're like, you kind of expect you lost him. Also, you signed Max Scherzer too. So, there's a replacement. Would I love to bring back Stroman? No doubt about it. Him as a 3 would be pretty nasty. It's an interesting move from the Cubs perspective because I thought they were just going full rebuild. And now they're signing starting pitchers now. Maybe it's more of just a retool and they're going to spend big in free agency next year. Obviously, this isn't Cubs Weekly, so but that is TBD. But contractually, a 3-year deal, I would have loved to see the Mets give him that. But that shit of him posting on social media about, I'd love to be back, but I'm not sure the Mets want me back. No shithead. They're prioritizing Max Scherzer because he's a fucking Hall of Famer. What do you expect? End of the day, his antics are gone, which I'm happy about. I am going to miss him on the mound, though. He's a really good player, no doubt about it.
All right. Well, there's a Tigers fan in the chat that I see. Take good care of El Mago. That's all I ask. Hayden, how should we view Stroman's time in New York and any other additional thoughts of the fallen out here?
Yeah, well, I just found out a couple weeks ago I was blocked by Stroman for absolutely zero reason. I never messaged him. I never tagged him. I never DM'd him. Perhaps maybe he saw
100% knows the show.
Perhaps maybe he saw one of my rages of me flipping the chair saying F the Mets.
Hi, Stroman.
Otherwise, I don't really know. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, best of luck in Chicago, Stroman. Obviously, Cubs are...
What are they?
Listen again.
Well, I guess
All right,
what the Cubs are.
All right.
The Cubs are.
We'll never know. Andrew, Stroman.
I mean, it's unfortunate they picked him over Zach Wheeler. That's pretty bad. Think about Brody giving up Anthony Kay and Simone Woods Richardson. Yes, Kay turned to trash Simone Woods Richardson. Depending, still, we'll see what Minnesota does with him.
He got traded, right, for Barrios.
Got him and Austin Martin to Barrios. We'll see what he turns out to be again. Andrew, shut up. It's not prospect talk. But, again, Stro, again, like everybody said, he's great. I would love, this guy's getting this.
Whoops. Did not mean to do that. Meant to click something else. Whoops.
This guy over here. But again, I think I said last night. Now, definitely don't put me on full screen. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that either. There you go.
I'm so pretty. Okay. Go ahead.
Fucking head looking motherfucker. All right. Whoa. Besides that, again, he's the kind of guy. Like I said last night, I would have loved the Mets to try to find an innings eater, and they're losing one in Stroman. Again, Stroman had to pitch well when he was on the field. maybe the first 2 weeks in 2019, and obviously opts out in 2020. Wasn't up to snuff that he was pitching in Toronto, but last year obviously pitched tremendous. And again, AAV wise and contract wise, really cheap. Maybe the Twitter stuff turned the Mets off, but if that kind of contract, I would have still been in. I would have dealt with the BS on Twitter, just to have the number 3 starter, the guy that's going to go out there every inning, especially with the question marks in our rotation. For like $20 million AAV, I would have been in that, especially when Gosman's getting 5 years of 110, and Ray, who are 1 year wonder type guys, 3 years of 71 million. I would have matched it, but again, maybe they just said enough of that fiasco on Twitter and let him go rant in Chicago. Go have fun throwing to Wilson Contreras if he's even still there, and I can't wait to see Nolan Arenado just tee off on him like he did for the Mets this year. So good luck, Stro, I guess. And that's really all I gotta say.
Yeah. No, did I give everybody? Everybody got?
I got cut
Yeah,
off.
we got to see what the Cubs are.
Yeah, what are the Cubs?
Yeah,
You cut out. It was like the Cubs are, and then you froze. What are the Cubs doing?
Oh, yeah. So pretty much the Cubs are in that like weird state where they're like kind of just traded away literally 75% of their team. Otherwise, Cubs, you got Clint Frazier, you got Contreras, and I guess the Renaissance.
Natty Wisdom.
Frank Swindell, come on.
So honestly,
Frank Swindell.
yes, Frank the Tank, the guy from like
Hayward.
No, but realistically, I wish him the best of luck. I wish him the best of luck. If he pulls that crap in Chicago with what he does, let him. I don't care. In terms of him with the Mets, I just feel he really was not a good clubhouse presence. We saw how he acted on Twitter, and imagine he came back to the Mets after having that hissy fit online. Can't be doing that. Listen, I really respect him. I mean, I at least I did. I think he could be a fair player. Just his personality, he's going on Twitter, challenging people. It's like, dude, just keep it to yourself. I have comments. You don't see me parading them on Twitter. I throw my chair in my room off stream with you guys. There's a reason for that. If we were watching a Mets game, I wouldn't throw my chair and curse at every player on the live stream. I'd wait till we're off. Not really, but still. I know.
We got video.
So we're just lying now. Great.
Yes.
Okay.
Point is, Stroman, not a good clubhouse presence. And good luck in Chicago. Wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you could be a Cy Young type of player that you've always hoped.
I don't know about.
Okay, so they're trading Contreras. Would the Cubs like a 2019 All-Star?
No, we're not trading McChicken.
I wish I had the soundbite for the McKinnon's Elite. Oh, well.
All right. Anyways. Did I miss anyone with Stroman? No. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, as it unfolded, I'm disappointed. I really am. I think the way Stroman completely trashed our front office, basically false acquisitions, basically, and they had more interest in someone else. And he liked, he's like liking every tweet imaginable about himself and denying that he liked those tweets. I mean, I've always liked Stroman as a player, and I still do. I respect his game a lot. But I always split the player and the person. And his social media, it never really bothered me that much because it never disrupted his, game. Per se, of his profession. But Stroman, he acted like an absolute child this week, and the victim mentality that he uses has become more and more insufferable as time has gone on. I mean, he really just needs to learn that not everything is about him, and not everything is targeted at him. The earth doesn't revolve around you. And, how does a 30-year-old man not know that? I don't get it. The way that he left it, it was very unprofessional. But at the end of the day, I thank Stroman. I respect his game a lot. Good luck in Chicago. And we're going to move on to some more off-season stuff. Now, with the loss of Syndergaard, Stroman, and you also lost Loup. You also lost Rich Hill as well. Now, we know the big names, but what about some under-the-radar names? Starters or relievers that the Mets should add to their staff? I'm going to start with Mets talk with Hayden. What do you think, like under the radar move to add to the pitching staff, starter or reliever?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess, some starters would be nice and relievers would be nice. It really depends what wants to be addressed. Right now, I guess it'd be Jacob degrom, Max Scherzer. You lost Marcus Stroman, so that's kind of a big hole in the lineup. Hopefully, Carlos Carrasco. And then you got McGill and Peterson. And then I guess going down the line, you have Yamamoto, you have Zappucki. I guess Yusei Kikuchi could be a fair guy. We know that the Mets pursue. Oh, yeah, Taiwan Walker, my apologies. We did see that the Mets pursued a little interest in Yusei Kikuchi. Not bad of a guy. Definitely kind of had a great first half. Slipped a little bit in the second half. Nice left-handed pitcher. I think he could possibly be something in prime age. It's always good to see. In terms of bullpen, I mean, Raisel Iglesias was really my number one guy. I thought that he would be willing to come to New York, and the Mets were able to work something out with him. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So we'll see. And that's the thing about bullpen pitchers is that they're so sneaky. They're very streaky. You can get some random guy that no one's ever heard of, and he could blow up. And that's all I got.
All right. Frank about sports. Is there anybody, an under-the-radar guy that nobody has really talked about that the Mets could have as a valuable option?
Yeah, well, I have a very specific criteria that I'm looking at and what the Mets could use. Because when I look at this rotation, as I've said before, I see, whether it's the age concerns or the injury concerns. So I'm looking at someone who's young, was very healthy in 2021, and was very effective in 2021. And when I look at the free agent market, any of the good pitchers, I have concerns about either their age or their injury history, whether it be Clayton Kershaw or it be some of these other guys you see are 30 plus. So I'm looking for somebody under 30 that can still be effective. I don't see in the free agent market. But there is one guy in the trade market that really, I was doing some research about him today. He really caught my eye, and that is Tyler Mahle from the Cincinnati Reds. I look at him, 27 years old, exactly what the Mets need. 3.75 ERA, so not great, but not terrible. Right in the middle, which is exactly what the Mets need. They need that like mid-rotation, back-end type starter. And my favorite part about Tyler Mahle, 33 games started in 2021. So he made a ton of starts. He didn't, pitch 1, 2 innings. He went, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, every single time he was out there. And that's exactly what the Mets need. We know that the Cincinnati Reds are in sale mode. His contract is like, $3 million this year, $4 million. So it's not going to be a huge cap hit. If the Mets need to put J.D. Davis in that trade or Dom Smith in that trade plus a prospect, I'm all for it. I think that's exactly who the Mets could use. Baseball Savant page isn't amazing, but it's not terrible. He's under the radar. He's not a guy that, he's going to have a crazy package to get him like Luis Castillo would or maybe one of the Oakland A guys would. And like I said, when I look at this free agent market, I don't love anybody. I just don't think they're worth, giving a crazy price because if they get hurt, then what's the point? The Mets just need someone who is healthy and durable and young. So that's why I really like Tyler Mahle.
Oh, right. Elias, under the radar move for this pitching staff, someone that isn't really talked about that much.
All right, so this is kind of like a fantasy. It's basically the biggest high risk, high reward trade that would ever exist. So let's reunite Max Scherzer with one of his old teammates. Let's dump Cano's contract, and instead we'll receive Steven Strasburg. Now obviously I'm not actually being serious about this. This is a complete joke. I'm just saying this is the definition of high risk, high reward. The thing is, though, he gets hurt so much that if he got hurt again, he'd probably just retire. He's probably sick of, the rehab process and all this kind of stuff. So that's not being talked about. Obviously, this is a joke. We're not getting that contract. But if you want to dump Cano's contract and maybe get a prospect back, hell, why the hell not? Obviously, we're not doing that. So under the radar guys, you can look at, Oakland. They're looking to be in fire sale. So a guy like Chris Bassett, he's a pretty decent pitcher. He's not being talked about a lot. I'd like Sonny Gray, though, for keeping it in Cincinnati. I don't know how much in sell mode they're going to be. I've always liked Sonny Gray for a while. I know he had, a rough 2 years with the Yankees and whatnot. People don't think he's fit for New York. He pitches in Cincinnati. Well, that stadium's a freaking bandbox. So, yeah, Sonny Gray I would like as a 3. That's really good. Obviously, the Steven Strasburg thing was a joke, but Max Scherzer wants to bring back his old teammate. And hey, when Steven Strasburg's on, you see him in the World Series. That dude can pitch, but he's always hurt. So obviously that's a joke. But yeah, Sonny Gray is definitely a guy I'd look into. And like Frank said, on the free agent market, there aren't a ton of guys that really blow me away. Fortunately, we got the number one guy. I don't think Kershaw would come here, and honestly, I don't really want him. Just the injuries, he's getting up there a bit, and it wouldn't seem right, honestly, from just like a all-around baseball fan to see him out of the Dodgers. I know people are saying he's going to go to the Rangers because he's from there, but I don't think that's going to happen. And who even is left on the free agent market?
Carlos Rondon is the best free agent starting pitcher left, but even
hasn't
then,
he had some big injury issues in the past?
He was banged up in the playoffs. He still pitched through it, and this was his first really good year. Like last year and the year before that,
He was non-tendered last year. That's how bad.
Yeah,
it was.
exactly. So you're taking the risk of like the way Robbie Ray got a $100 million deal for Seattle off of one Cy Young year with a bunch of mediocre years. You're taking that same risk with Rondon, where you're probably paying $100 million for a guy that so far had one good year.
Didn't he have one really big injury? Because people talk about how his arm is all messed up and whatnot with Rodon.
Yeah.
What was it? Like Tommy John or like?
I don't think it was Tommy John, but he was able to recover from it. That's what matters. The fact that he was still effective after the surgery is what I look at. But I'm just thinking that like if the Mets don't want to do another $100 million contract, because Rondon's the only good pitcher, so to say, like left that's under 30. Like Greinke's not coming, so there's no point even looking at him.
All right. Well, Andrew, do you have anybody? Even though I think yours was stolen because I saw you do like an entire spinorama. I didn't know you were that like. I didn't know you were that like.
Dude, I play hockey, bro. I'm sneaky athletic. Besides the point, since Frank's stealing my guy Tyler Mahle, I'll go I guess with a replacement potentially for Rich Hill, maybe even Larry. I think more of this would be a Hill type replacement. And if you remember any of the deadline, this was a guy I kind of always wanted. And the Dodgers went out and got him. Stanley Duffy. Again, is he a starter? No. Would I be comfortable making him a starter? No. But is he decent enough to start if needed? Yes. But if you put him in as the second lefty, as actually maybe just even the long man, kind of what David Peterson was somewhat doing before he got hurt, as the long man, extra lefty to have out, can give you, if you need an opener, can go 3 or 4 or 5 innings if possible, good fastball, good curveball, again, and will be cheap and more and more depth. You can keep McGill and you can keep Peterson in AAA. You have the flexibility. Again, if somebody gets hurt, let's say Scherzer and DeGrom get a nick, hey, they're scratching that. Oh, Duffy goes on the mound tonight. That's like, again, he brings you the flexibility that he could be a starter, and he can give you a reliever as a second lefty. So since Frank's taking my guy Tyler Mahle, who I've fallen in love with to be a solid number 4, I'll go with Rich Hill, even though the true answer is Luis Castillo.
Okay. Well, now my guy was a lefty reliever, but then he was brought back by the
Cardinals?
Royals the next day after being non-tendered. Richard Lovelady. That was my pick. But anyways, here's another one.
What's his last name?
Lovelady.
Lovelady.
Yes. You could come up with so many memes. That's mine. And he's also pretty good.
Man, I love Lady today.
Nasty slider, by the way. If y'all have seen Lovelady, dude's good. Dude's good. Really good. Anyway, here's one that has been floating around. And this I don't think he's going to be a major piece, but I'd love for him to be like a piece, like a spot starter or this or that, if they need it. One of those guys to put into like that AAA unit or whatever. John Gant. Former Mets minor leaguer, 6-pitch set. I think his style of pitching can really be helped by Hefner. I think he can definitely mix those types of things together. I do want to see him like kind of paired up with like Yamamoto maybe in AAA, like something like that. Yeah, good depth piece in my opinion. I just thought I'd go like completely off the rails so like I can just like rave about some random guy because that's what I like. I love my guys.
He's interesting because he's got bullpen experience too. But I just remember Gary Heathenron roasting the shit out of how many walks he had against us.
He does walk a lot of guys. Yes, he does.
But again, Hefner
he does walk.
Coach him up, get it under control.
Yeah,
you never know really.
Yes, but he is kind of a soft contact type of guy. So it's like if he can find a way to like locate in the zone like Stroman was able to do, then you can then you can figure it out. I mean that's that was one of the issues with Joey Lucchesi, and the great James McCann fixed that up. So, who knows?
I got one more name. Can I say real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe Michael Pineda from the Twins. He could be interesting. I know all the memes with the neck pine tar and shit, all that. But
He's not
according to
Stroman,
Stroman,
he
we
get
don't
kind of
go
banged up
after-
too, though.
He's kind of a
yeah,
tough
but as
tub,
like
yeah.
a depth guy, like as a sixth man.
Under
We got
the
him watching
radar
baseball,
guy,
right?
someone that could contribute. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like
Yeah.
The only guy I was looking at like a little bit was Drew Smiley. I mean, he had a good win-loss record. ERA was okay.
Do we care about win-loss record
and
now?
how's the MLB The Show card?
Kind of actually
That's not
sneaky,
good.
but sneaky.
I mean, you
Well,
got to
there's
do
flashbacks
you got to
to
do
it.
something right to win games. You have to do something right.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, look
I
at
don't
Brandon
know.
Woodruff. He had a losing record despite a good ERA. Like, what does that tell you?
He sucks.
Oh
God.
my God.
DeGrom had
Jesus
what?
Christ.
500
Can we
record.
go
DeGrom
on,
won 5
please?
games.
I mean, was it? He had more wins than Stroman, right? So
Yeah, that works.
Oh my God. All right. Well, this one was added from yesterday. Now, some of you guys may know this guy, some of you don't, but Mets blogs, Matthew Cerrone, am I saying that right? He sold Mets blog to SNY. I'm pretty sure he's retired, but he may have some sources. We don't know. We're just using this one as speculation. But it did make a nice prediction segment for us. So he made out a tweet that Eppler and Cohen, they had another big move in the works this offseason that we shouldn't fully judge it until January. Or what is it? So what I'm going to ask is, what could this hypothetical big move be? We don't know. We're just, we don't know if this is right. No one's confirmed this. But what could this big move be? I'll start with the GM who makes the moves. Rhino, who could this big move be?
Man, I wish TonyMetro was here. Because, again, this is more hypothetical. I mean, this is not, again, maybe under the radar, but also a big move. A couple of guys who maybe are traded, maybe not. The Mets are going to go out and get their number 3 starter. They're going to go out and trade for Shane Bieber. This is the big move that needs to happen. And you know what? The Guardians are dumb. They like giving away money. You know what? Jose Ramirez. They don't need him.
We don't know what the Guardians are.
Give
The
him-
Guardians
no.
have never-
The Guardian,
No.
but
We don't know what
historically,
they are.
they don't need Jojo Ramirez. You can give him Brett Beatty. Take Brett. He can have fun. Have that. You can have Alvarez too. Take him too. We're trying to win a World Series here, and I've been told that prospects are useless. So you can have Ronnie Mauricio too. GT Ginn, Matt Allen, doesn't matter because major leaguers are more valuable than anywhere. So Jojo Ramirez playing third base. Eddie Escobar can play second. Jeff McNeil can go to Cincinnati for Luis Castillo. We're gonna have the greatest rotation in baseball.
All right. So
Sign me up.
Are you saying that have you ever heard of a major league player like right now, like Mike Trout?
Yeah, he's
You
pretty
think
good.
he was playing in the minor leagues?
No,
He's always
think
a
he was,
major league
right, I
player.
think he was out of the great city of Vineland, New Jersey, and just came right to the big leagues.
I think he was just 8 years old and just started
Just
hitting dingers.
popped out the womb hitting dingers.
Yep. All right, Frank, what could this big move be? What do you think what are they trying to do here?
the only guy I could think of is Chris Bryant, only because like I've said before, they've looked at him just for so long now, and every single Mets fan alive is probably in Steve Cohen's mentions about Chris Bryant. I bet you if Steve Cohen opened up his Twitter account right now, looked at his mentions, all it would say is Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant, Chris Bryant. And we know Steve Cohen goes on Twitter. So he knows that's what the Met fans want. I would imagine that they're trying. I think that Chris Bryant fits the Eppler mindset a little more than Baez because he's not as strikeout heavy, has that versatility, position versatility that Eppler has been talking about in the press conference yesterday. So I think if there was a big move they're looking at, it's probably Chris Bryant.
Okay. Elias, what can this big move be?
Okay,
Hypothetical.
so when we can finally make moves again, the CBA will be up, will be resolved, and I'm predicting a universal DH. So why do I say that? Well, a great thing to do in sports is not only strengthen your team, but weaken a division rival. We're going to sign Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, our first baseman, tub shithead. He can go DH, or they can split time and do it. Freddie Freeman is going to be a New York Met, and he's going to show us. He just won a World Series. He's going to show us how to win a World Series, and then we'll trade for Acuna after that.
Yeah.
No,
And then
we got to
bring
keep
in-
Soto.
bring
No,
in-
I
bring in
thought we were getting
Soto.
Soto. Man.
Soto.
We were going to put him
Soto
on
too? Yep, Soto.
Soto. Okay. Wait, where's Nimmo?
And then
Oh, Mike Trout next offseason.
Oh yeah, but no, he got to wait for a little while for that.
Well,
Nimmo moves to DH when Pete
Nimmo moves
retires.
to second base.
retires and
Positions
becomes a
don't matter.
professional eater.
He can
He is
catch.
pretty.
He can
He's
catch.
pretty versatile. So
He
that
can
makes
catch. He'll figure it out. He'll figure
figure
it
it
out. He
out.
can catch.
We have James McCann, so it can't get worse.
Fuck off. Okay. Hayden, what could this big
we
move
doing?
be?
We're getting into a more realistic thing besides Freddie Freeman. That's,
Whoa, that's realistic.
Why not?
Well, we got to improve at first base. I mean,
Have you seen
Are
that?
they
Have you seen that video of Pete talking to Freddie Freeman on opening day,
Yeah.
reopening day?
On first,
Yeah,
was
Congratulations.
Scherzer realistic? Nothing's unrealistic, buddy. Mike Trout's gonna
recruiting
be a Met.
process.
Okay. So getting back to some big moves for the Mets. There really isn't a whole lot that I can think of right now because one, at least half of the big free agents have signed already. The CBA lockout really had a big effect on these guys, really made them go quickly. So I guess really Chris Bryant, like Frank said, would be really the number one guy left. And it questions, if you get Chris Bryant, you're getting rid of at least three guys on the roster, on the 26-man roster, whether that is a Dominic Smith, whether that is a JD Davis, and even some bench bats, obviously. I mean, Blankenhorn could be thrown in something if you're talking about a trade with Cleveland. The A's, however, it's really questionable. If you want to trade, you want to preserve the farm system. I think there are some trades out there where, you don't really have to give up a whole lot, whether that's giving up, a Jalen Palmer or Carlos Cortez, and then maybe you throw in one Mauricio. It really depends on who you try to get. If you're going to get a guy like Shane Bieber, you have to give up a little bit. But, if it really depends on the move. Otherwise, I am looking forward to it. And yes, I agree, Steve. Pete Alonso is the best, 100%. No doubt about that. Jersey back there. Biggest Pete Alonso fan. Let's go. But yeah, honestly, I think we should also extend Pete Alonso. That's what we should do. Now, but being realistic though, Nimmo and Alonso on the ground. That would be a good big move for the Mets this offseason. Extend those three.
All right. Well, I think. Well, they stole Max Scherzer, so why not steal Trey Turner? Why not? I mean, you can rotate from DH and shortstop with Lindor. I mean, it's not bad, right? No, I think it's going to be Chris Bryant. That's what I think it's going to be, mainly because they did not go as high with Baez, and they were still willing to bring that in. And Bryant, I'm pretty sure he's older than Baez, so they might go a little like they might go. They might be able to get him for 5 years. I doubt it, but if you have a hole in third base again. Like I said earlier, moving to the outfield when Brett Beatty comes in. You have Canha only there for 2 years, and Starling Marte, he's gonna be there, but yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. All right, well. It is now the end of the show, which means it is time for Carson's criteria. We have the top 5 most hated opponents in Mets history. Let's go. All right. We've got a nice new presentation here. Hope you guys like it. Anyway, yeah. All right. So if you guys do not know how this works, I give my top 5 of a Mets category, and these guys can tear it apart once we are done. And they give the, who they switch, who would they put higher, who would they put lower or whatever, who they add onto the list. Drums up the conversation. You guys can do it as well. So top 5 most hated opponents of all time for the New York Mets. And I'm going to start off this list with number 5, Jimmy Rollins. This hatred developed with the simple fact that we were good, but they were better. Of course, Rollins was the voice behind that 07 Phillies team, labeling them the team to beat in the National League East. Not only was he right, but he also reminded us that he was annoying by winning MVP over David Wright that season, who deserved it all the way, and I will take that to my grave. Legitimate bullshit to this day. And don't give me that 40-40 argument, because Wright swiped almost as many bags that season. I do not want to hear it. Anyway, we all know the trolling that Rollins does and has done with us over the years, taunting us about 07 constantly, saying he wishes he played for the Mets so they can experience a winner, what a winner looks like. I mean, seriously, fuck this little rat and fuck Philly. Anyway, number 4, Chipper Jones. Yeah, you know he was going to be on here. If you haven't seen my video about all-time killers of the New York Mets, you should check that out. 5 Points Vids did an awesome segment on Chipper Jones. Like Jimmy Rollins, it was trolling fun at the end of the day, but Chipper was a massive Met killer. It didn't matter what the Mets basically threw at this guy. He was always made to destroy them back, even through the back and forth. The Larry chant, Chipper naming his dog Shay, Chipper buying a cutout during the pandemic at Citi Field. The trolling just goes back and forth. This is a love double hate relationship, I guess, between Chipper and Mets fans. But the respect was mutual at the end of the day. But not for this guy at number 3, Roger Clemens. This guy, he was immature, he was petty, and he stuck a needle in his ass like it was a massage chair. Main event of this story was the feud with Mike Piazza, but in turn of events, Piazza owned Clemens. Roger did not like that very much, so he decided to throw a chip bat at Piazza in the 2000 World Series. Completely unnecessary and stupid, but one of them is in the Hall of Fame, so suck it, Clemens. Anyway, number 2, Chase Utley. Again, if you haven't seen my Met Killers video, our own TonyMetro did a segment about Chase Utley. If only he was here, it would have been nice. But seriously, that being said, fuck this guy. Anyway, not only did he have so much success against the Mets, he would basically purposely injure people and just call it part of the game. Of course, if you don't remember, Game 2 of the 2015 NLDS, the Mets were up 2-1, 1 out, runners at the corners. Utley at first, Howie Kendrick hits a ground ball to second. Utley slides to break up the double play, but completely misses the bag and knocks out our shortstop, Ruben Tejada. That wasn't a slide, it was a tackle. Utley never apologized for the incident and still claims to today it's just part of my game. Well, your game broke a young shortstop's leg and pretty much ruined his entire career. Of course, the Mets would get the last laugh by winning that series in 2015 and eventually moving on to the World Series later on. But we're still waiting, Chase. We really still are waiting. Anytime you want to apologize, that would be great. Number 1, of course, if you don't know, John Rocker. This feud was ugly. Mets fans would dump beer on his family, throw batteries at him. But why? Well, in 1999, in a Sports Illustrated interview, Rocker proceeded to trash the entire city of New York, making racist and sexist comments about the diverse population and basically told them to, quote unquote, go back to where they came from. Rocker had absolutely no filter. His mental makeup was a disaster. And after his comments, he was out of the league by 2003. So, fuck you. Anyway, the late 90s Braves dominated the Mets, but none of them were as animated and as mentally sick as John Rocker, an absolute head case. So there are my top 5 most hated opponents of all time. If anybody wants to tear this one apart, add somebody. I'll start with Frank. You want to add anybody?
There's a few guys I want to add, but I can't necessarily put them in the top 5 because the crazy thing is that the Mets have so many Met killers that you feel like you can't if I put someone else I can't take one of these guys off. So I put down 4 guys that in my opinion were pretty big Met killers. Number 1, Yadier Molina. You know, he's someone I talked about a little bit in my, Mets, in that section of the Mets killer video. Obviously, 06 was the big one, but even this year, like Yadier Molina still hits the Mets really well. I mean, this many years later. So he's a Met killer. Ben Zobrist, I think, is a sneaky Mets killer in a couple of ways because, facing the Royals, he killed us there. And then when the Mets targeted Zobrist as the second baseman, it kind of like drew Stroman where Murphy felt a little bit disrespected. So since the Mets didn't get Zobrist, they couldn't keep Daniel Murphy, who went on to kill us right afterwards. So Zobrist kind of in two ways hurt us. Derek Jeter, he hurt us in, the 2000 World Series, the Subway Series World Series, and just ever since then, all Subway Series. And then Mike Scioscia, because he hit that huge home run in the 80s, knocked out the 88 Mets. So those are four guys I have that have like really big moments that crushed the Mets in pivotal moments, pretty much.
Andrew, you got anybody that you'd add to this?
Again, like Frank said, those are your top 5 guys. I can just think of like pain in the asses that like you hate seeing him in the batter's box. Alcides Escobar, Freddie Freeman, Paul DeYoung. Like some of those guys were just a pain in the ass to face.
Team.
Exactly. You just guys that you hate to see in the batter's box, and there's personal hatred.
Pat Burrell.
Good human being though, but God, piss off Pat Burrell. Like again, everyone on that list beside I think Chipper, there's a hatred for the person. Chipper was a respect on the field. You just killed us. Yeah. But there's nobody, like, again, Freddie and guys like that. Nobody's coming. Like, you got your 5 guys.
Yeah, Freddie's such a good guy.
Freddie's a good dude. And that's why he should be our first baseman, just so he can stop killing us.
Yes.
But yeah, like, again, it's just guys who you just hate seeing compared to some of these guys that you just hate, and you would throw a bottle of beer at somebody. Well, a few of these guys can, get a nice little steel chair to the head or something like that. But, again, everything else is just kind of guys you just hate seeing in the batter's box. When these guys, you hate seeing them in real life.
When Freddie Freeman was like the only one, like as a kid, like when I was like I was younger, like Freddie Freeman was the only guy that was like, when I was watching, if I saw him hit something, my heart would immediately drop. Unless it's even if it's a pop up or a weak ground ball, like because I know something crazy is gonna happen because he just destroys us all the time. Elias, is there anybody you would like to add here?
Not necessarily. I think it's a good list. I thought Chase Utley was going to be number 1, and then I completely forgot about John Rocker. And after your explanation, he should be number 1. For me, I feel like the guys who should be on here are like the guys who, not as just as players, but as people, except for if they're in division and constantly playing. Like guys like Yadier Molina, I understand, but you're not playing him all that often. It's just in the big moments he screws you over. If you're looking at the last couple of years, Jorge Alfaro maybe. That's his name right there, reliever on the Jorge, what's his name?
Oh, Alvarado.
What
was Alvarado?
Alvarado.
Yeah,
Jorge Alvaro's catcher. Jorge Alvarado. I'm just trying to think of some recent Met.
They
guys who had bad blood with the team.
He's become a
Gene Segura,
massive Met killer. Yes, Gene Segura is a really good one.
Michael Franco.
I mean, Bryce Harper.
Was Camargo one of them?
Michael Franco. Camargo was good too. The pain in the ass too, but Bryce Harper, for most Mets fans, they hate.
He just went to the Phillies.
Exactly. Like even when he was a national, everybody hated this guy. That's just someone.
No, Camargo went to the Phillies.
But Camargo went to the Phillies. Yeah.
Yep, they're all the Met killers on the Phillies now.
Pretty much.
Back Franco.
Yeah, can't wait.
We got Diaz. We're good.
To face Segura.
Hayden, there anybody to add?
I mean, the list looks pretty adequate. I mean, Chase Utley obviously was a pain in the behind. I mean, he literally had that little Utley corner nicknamed after him on the right field. Otherwise, like everyone said, it's kind of the same. I mean, maybe like 8, 9, 10. One name you guys didn't name was Kyle Schwarber. He freaking killed the Mets this season. I mean, he had like 7 home runs against us with the Nationals, and like
that's
3
1 year. He keeps it up. Yeah, that's 1 year.
Well, I'll tell you
never really been. He's not really been a super threat with the Mets in the past, but this season he really dominated us.
No, I love seeing Schwarber in the 2015 playoffs when he couldn't catch a fly ball in left field, was diving all over the place, just tubbing everywhere.
He took,
and really
he
helped
took,
the Mets out a ton.
He took what Daniel Murphy did very personally this year. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, he had to pick up that Nationals torch.
Yeah, loved hitting Tyler McGill too.
Stop it. Okay. Please stop it. All right. Well, another guy that was on here he was a former Met, but then he was sent off to Houston. Mike Scott with the scuff balls.
Yes.
That was another guy that was on here.
Mm-hmm.
I did have Jesse Winker for a little bit, but then I kind of just tossed him
I
off.
feel like that was just like a 2-day thing. Like he hasn't really.
It was, but they remembered him this year.
We all remember, but he hasn't been like these guys. Who
He's
are, like,
funny though.
really
Like I know I'm
that.
supposed to like hate him as a Mets fan, but he's funny.
We got
He's
the last
funny.
lap though when he got ejected, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the Phillies will trade for him, play him in left field, and then he'll become a real pain in the ass.
That's very possible.
Yeah, McCutcheon's gone. So
And Red's fire sale.
and Mickey Moniak is trash. Trash.
The whole outfield other than Bryce.
You know, they only have 2 outfielders on their depth chart right now.
Yeah. No, and one of them is Bryce.
One actually, well, the other guy's like a fucking scrub, but Bryce is like their only
Yeah,
outfield.
and he's listed as their
I
left
cannot-
fielder and center fielder.
I can't imagine having that problem. I mean, two
I got
primary
99
outfielders.
problems, but outfielders ain't one. Oh,
Hell yeah, man. All right. As
I
the
miss
rest of the
outfield,
episode
Dan
going to be a rap session. I'm trying to think of the other one that I had. I
Peter Alonso
did
diss track coming soon.
like aside from like beef they had, or like Gary Carter was definitely a guy that Mets fans didn't like until he came. There was a lot of like, that was the thing. I had Pete Rose, but that's kind of like a common one for everyone.
Yeah. He wasn't to the Mets.
Let's see, what was I had one other guy. Wainwright.
Oh yeah, he's maybe 6.
But I respect the hell out of Wainwright, so it's not really like it's not
Steven
really
Matz'
hate,
curveball's
like,
gonna get so much better this year. Just saying.
Yeah, probably.
Watch it. It's gonna be nasty.
Are you looking at expected metrics now, my guy?
No, it's one good curveball guy goes with one curveball guy, and called eye test teaching. It's a thing I know analytics people don't like. Called a bullpen session.
You really just you suck the fun out of memes sometimes. All right, we have some.
This is a good one. Yeah.
Nice.
That's just like most
Nice.
hated people in general. He'd be in there for sure.
Now Birdie Madoff.
Yes.
I'd say Andy Boy's up there, but
Andy
he did break the Scherzer news, and I said, what? Okay, he did break the Scherzer news. What's it called? And I tweeted out that I won't slander him for the next 5 minutes if he gets it right. So, and he got it right. So he got no slander for 5 minutes. So, all right. So we do have one question that was sent in via Twitter. Who do you think is going to be the manager for the Mets? Not your favorite, but who do you think will be the manager? Because that's kind of been in discussion. To be honest, the most likely ones are not really appealing, but Frank about sports, is there anyone that you think should be the Mets manager?
Well, if I had a choice, I do like Mike Schilt. I think he'd be a pretty solid choice. Obviously, I still like Miguel Cairo as like a dark horse guy, but I think realistically, I kind of think it's going to be Brad Ausmus. I know that that's like Epler's guy. He wants to give him another chance, and I think that like Ausmus would be okay with the media because he's like a younger guy compared to like someone like Buck, who I don't know if Buck wants to deal with the New York media, 3 times a day at his age. Like, I mean, why would you want to anyway? So I think that Brad Ausmus would probably fit more of what Epler's looking for since he already hired him before. So I think I want to give him one more chance. But that's my prediction is Ausmus. But I would like Mike Schilt only because like there's just not a lot of amazing options out there right now. Like Beltran, okay, but still like the rookie manager thing is concerning.
That's a great comment.
That's a really strong one.
I mean, let's be real. Doc didn't make those choices by himself. He really did. Like, let's be real. I mean, we can go into all of that, but we're past the 2-hour mark at this point. Andrew, manager, anyone like?
Past the 2-hour mark at this point.
Speakers are on. Hayden.
Holy
my God, there's
shit!
two
I got
Mets
a
fans.
clone.
Yeah, Jesus.
I got a clone, man. Jesus Christ! I can't even handle one.
Yeah, neither can Twitter. Please, Mike Schilt. Like, literally, Buck Showalter, send him back to the retirement home. Brad Ausmus, like, again, like Frank said, he's younger.
I don't like him. I just.
I know,
This
is the question. Mike Schilt, please. Like, he's one, believes in his players. Again, I can see firsthand. I've seen it firsthand. This guy's gonna stick up for his players. One, he's actually won something. I know Buck Showalter is like, he's won a bunch of games, hasn't won a World Series. I'm not saying Mike Schilt has done that, but for the short time that Schilt has been a manager, he's been he's been pretty productive. Yes, he's with a great organization with the Cardinals, with great talent, but he also developed a lot of the talent in Springfield. Who, again, I love I can bring the Springfield references. He was the development for Bader, and they traded for O'Neill from Seattle. But he was in AA when Carlson and Bader and Edmund, those guys. So he's seen these guys all the way through and helped develop these kids. So, yes, the Mets they're an older core, but also, again, maybe some development for Beatty, Vientos, Alvarez, Mauricio if he's there here. So, please, Mike Schilt, there's been no rumor at all the Mets being linked to him. I'm not going to say he's going to be the manager, but he's the best option. Please, Steve.
All right. Hayden. Luis Rojas is not available. So who do you think is going to be
the Yankees?
Manager?
Well, you're on my third base coach watch. Just remember. No, I'm kidding. Realistically, there's really no one that really stands big out there. I guess the big three that are in, the air is Buck Showalter, Carlos Beltran, and Mike Schilt. Otherwise, that's it. It's probably going to be this guy that no one's ever heard of. Kind of like with Ro. Maybe you get someone from the domestic part, you get someone from the Mets organization inside, whether that's a coach. Otherwise, those are the only three guys I can really think of. I want to get someone who has a cross between the eye test and analytics. Someone that's, middle-aged would be nice. A former player is always good. They could feel what it's like to be in their shoes. Otherwise, yeah, that's what I'm rolling with.
Okay. Elias, did I get you? Or...
No, not yet.
No, go ahead.
As you can see right here, I've started the hashtag anyone but Buck movement. I don't get the hype. What has he done? He's been out of the league for 3 years now. Hashtag anyone but Buck Showalter, please. Mike Schilt, interesting. I honestly rather go for that kind of no-name guy. Pat Murphy from the Brewers, I've heard a couple good things about. Brad Ausmus, he's had 2 chances. I know, Ep Dog, you gotta trust him. He's earned our trust, I guess. But Ep Dog, yeah, I managers, the big names really don't do anything for me right now. I'd be okay with Mike Schilt, but yeah, I'd get a smaller name, like Hayden said, a mix of the eye test, a mix of the analytics. But hashtag anyone but Buck.
I think maybe try Sandy Alderson because he's done a lot of jobs for us. Why not? We'll see how he. I think he managed. I think he managed the lost earring from Baez pretty well. I think he can do well out on that field. They never found it.
No,
Never mind.
I don't think they did.
No, they did. They did.
What can Sandy do?
Oh, I thought they couldn't find it.
No, I'm getting confused with Aaron Jones from the Pack. He
What?
lost his necklace and they found it. No, another guy who lost jewelry and they found it on the field.
Well,
Stop
I know where
putting jewelry on the
Cespedes'
field.
jewelry is.
Oh yeah. Maybe they found it. I don't know.
Michael Crabtree's jewelry.
Kind
Okay,
of
how about the
OBJ
Todd
lifted
father?
ball on
I
the
would
field.
love Todd as Mr. Met. I love that. Yeah, why not?
He'd be the definition of a player's coach or player's
Yeah, yeah.
manager.
Good dude, though.
I don't
really
like
good dude.
someone who was a
Tom's
teammate.
over New Jersey. They played in the Little World Series, right?
Yeah, well, he did play in the league, but I don't like the idea of someone who was a teammate of these guys as their manager. Because look out with the Cubs when Ross became the manager, it was a disaster. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like, they don't look at them as an authority figure. They kind of look at him as like one of the guys still. So it just like I don't know. They don't really play for him as much. I feel that's kind of with Ross, where Ross was so much these guys' friend because he was like an assistant coach for 12 years and was with these guys in the minors. That you need someone who they actually respect. It's like, okay, this is the boss. This is the guy that's going to hold us in check, and is really going to have the organization run a certain way. You want someone to establish that, and you feel like Andrew said, like Schultz will defend his players, but also is tough enough to where like he's someone you respect because he has the right age gap. I guess is the way to put it.
We should call Chipper.
Chipper would probably make a decent manager too, but I don't think he want to manage the Mets.
Okay, well, let's actually talk about this for a second because while we're on Sandy Alderson, what was going on with him in that press conference? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Guys, I know what happened. Okay, so I really think in terms of the Mets, I think they're really going to be a good team.
Yeah, he was blinking a lot.
He
Like,
did
he
that.
was-
I noticed he's done that a lot. But I mean, this dude is like a typical grandparent. When you FaceTime them, their face is like this in front of the camera. Like, bro, move your face back. It's a Zoom, a FaceTime call, not literally a FaceTime call. I mean, all older
You have to
generation.
remind him every time. You have to
Yeah,
remind
like
him every time you do
not my
that.
grandparents.
That's what I do when I answer the phone.
FaceTime.
I put my face super close.
Nah, you just got to do like this, like.
But nobody gave him his meds, so he's just.
God, just let him retire. Let him retire already. It's enough. The guy's done enough.
Let him sign the lefty and then just fire him. Just let him find the lefty and you go away.
Get the
I'll
fleece
give him
relievers.
one more
Get
draft.
the fleece relievers, and then
Get the
Steve
lefty
Cohen
to
can.
retire.
Yeah,
I like it.
And then bring him back to the
Another
draft,
t-shirt.
and then you can get rid of him.
I'm after the Kumar rocker. I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No,
That's a
Ep
good
Dog will
point.
just draft Mike Trout again.
No, F-Dog would sign him.
Hayden without a hat, no way.
Love
Jesus Christ.
This is
That
great.
actually was a thing.
F-Dog's good
Anyways.
at press conferences, too. He's always in a really good mood.
Well, I mean, when you
He's
sign
an
Matt
agent.
Scherzer- Yeah, exactly. That's who he's an agent.
Exactly. It's coach speak, yeah.
Scott
Love
Boras
dead
is the
time.
manager.
Well, he seems to know everything, so why
He doesn't.
not?
That is true. No, that's right. We gotta get.
I mean, they got a good relationship now.
Since we want
Good
David
relationship
Stern
now.
so bad, let's just bring him in as the manager.
No, we need him and Ep Dog to make the biggest juggernaut in a front
Dave
office.
Joust?
possible.
Any interest in Dave Joust?
Davy Joust?
Nah.
He
Eduardo
won the game you managed.
Elgato.
Yeah,
Carlos
Fonzie's a good
Fonzie, make Beltran the hitting coach, Delgado the bench coach, and we're good.
one.
What a
Or we could go
graphics.
on Dyksher's
Let's wrap
recommendation.
it up.
Yeah, I miss I miss hospital food too, Zarice. That's interesting. All right,
Well, we're just-
let's wrap it
yeah.
up here. I'll let these guys get their final remarks here. We'll start with Frank about sports.
Yes, Frank About Sports, the name of the channel. I made a lot of videos, individual videos, talking about some of the Mets transactions. I'm going to be doing some preview stuff now that between lockout, we have a lot of time to kind of think about what the Mets should do for all the different areas of need, even if it's something small or something we could look at. Any big news story in any of sports, that could be a reaction video. And maybe we'll do some other content. We'll see how long this lockout is and pretty much go from there. But thank you for having me. And let's go Mets. Hopefully this lockout isn't that long because, I mean, we were off to a really good start, and it just, like, the momentum just died so quick. It really sucks.
All right. Elias.
All right, whatever that was. Yeah, Big Apple Banter Media's channel, linked below. Check me out there. New stuff. Occasionally live call-in shows. Collins. You already know. Check me out on Twitter, too. I post a lot of angry shit on there. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. I might be doing some, posting, music stuff and whatnot with this lockdown, so figure it out. Hopefully, please get a CBA going, and fuck you, Rob Manfred. That letter was a freaking joke, man.
Yeah. And that's why we left all the lockout stuff out of here because that would have
my bad. I
made it a
spilled the
6-hour
vibe. My bad.
thing. Yeah.
Next
Hayden.
time, let's talk about the lockout and let's make all of our faces the players, the thing that all the players are doing on Twitter.
I'm not doing no. I'm letting that trend die.
I
Let it go.
despise that. It's been a day and I'm already.
I think
sick
it's
of that
awesome. I love it.
I like the Mr. Met one. That's funny.
shit. The Mr. Met's
But
the
other
best.
than
The
that-
mascot
was
ones are
really
the best.
fun.
The player ones.
Eh. Anyways, Hayden.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys would like to, feel free to check me out. Be very much appreciated. Hit 500 subs a couple days ago, probably a couple of weeks ago. I honestly forgot to mention it. But thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Channel's doing very well. Of course, thank you guys for having me on as always. LFGM, let's try to get some stuff rolling. I mean, CBA, we'll see how long it is. Fingers crossed it gets resolved by hopefully January, the latest. I got my spring training stuff set, all my tickets for spring training. I'd be really unfortunate for it to be canceled or postponed. So, any executives, owners, if you're listening to this, don't be selfish. Just agree with it.
That's it. Just agree. It's okay. That's it.
Just agree.
Yeah, just agree. It doesn't matter.
Money. What else can it do?
Why not? Andrew.
Yeah, like I said, the lockouts hit, so again, everybody's kind of doing more hypothetical Met stuff and all that, and news. I am going to do something. I've been sitting on this idea for a couple weeks now. There's going to be, and especially the success of the Nick Plummer video for some reason popping off. Also, thank you for 300 subscribers. I didn't say at the beginning, but thank you. There will be minor league content is going to be my main priority over the next couple. Well, I'm hoping to get out in the next week and a half my personal top 20 prospects. Then I will be doing breakdowns of pretty much any big prospects, the Wits, the Adleys, anything pretty much breaking down. I'll do a bunch of top 10s. I got about 37 videos ready to go, and maybe potentially bringing something to Mets Weekly, potentially. So who knows? So thank you for 300 subs. As always, I love doing this, and we got another big announcement next week. So.
Oh. Yeah, next week, guys, we have the what was supposed to be this week, and we also have another announcement after that. Oh God, okay, whatever. We've been on for a while. Okay, anyway, guys, go follow everybody.
On Thursday at 7. Thanks, Alex, for tuning in.
Yes,
right.
Every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Every Thursday at 7 o'clock, unless there's some
if you're in the Central, that's 6 o'clock. So
all right,
Central, what's up?
So guys, make sure to go follow,
Yep.
subscribe to everybody. TonyMetro as well, who could not join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. It's going to be a fun one. Get ready. It is a fun thing to get your fix during this lockout, which kind of sucks. But you know what? We're going to power through it. And guys, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Let's go Mets.